Welcome back to the Mind'em podcast. The whole point of this conversational style podcast is to sit down with early stage entrepreneurs to understand more about them, their background, and what made them take the leap and start something of their own. Today, I got the chance to sit down with Qaim, who's the founder and CTO of IOTA-J, which is a data co-pilot that turns complex data streams into simple to understand data patterns. As you can see, he's way smarter than I am. He's also arguably one of the best dressed guys in tech, which you'll get to see in just a moment. I first met Qaim at a sales workshop that I was running for an accelerator program here in Malaysia. And after a brief exchange with him, I really wanted to get to understand his background and his journey in entrepreneurship a little bit more. One thing I noticed throughout the conversation I was having with him was he's incredibly hungry and driven by the things he is passionate about. He's also incredibly curious, which, as you'll know if you're in kind of sales or coaching or anything like that, is vastly important in terms of understanding people's needs and wants. I think the other thing that was quite apparent was the fact that he is a perfectionist and he doesn't suffer mediocre work at all. It's the attention to detail that he brings in both his work in the tech field and then also in his other business, which is in leather goods and apparel, which you'll also get to see in this podcast as well. I think this is one of the things that separates him from many of the other entrepreneurs that are out there in terms of his attention to detail. And I believe that this is a great magnet that can bring in a similar type of person with a similar type of mindset into that entrepreneurial journey that you want to go on. I think the big takeaway here from me was you don't need to compromise on your standards in order to have the growth that you really want in your business. You can find people or attract people with those same standards that can go on that journey with you. So, this is my conversation with Qaim from IOTA-J.
My name is Qaim, and I am a co-founder and CTO of Data Copilot under the umbrella of IOTA-J.
IOTA-J?
IOTA-J.
What is IOTA-J?
In mathematics, it's complex numbers. Under root -1, it's iota and j on the x and y plane.
I think in terms of our mathematical expertise, we're polar opposites. I think so. Maybe not. Yeah. And underneath that, it's a data co-pilot. So do you have like a bunch of companies underneath IOTA-J? Is that the goal?
That's the plan. So first, we are actually launching product as a data co-pilot. So this is one of them. We are going to launch data co-pilot community or data community as well. So that would be under that as well. And in future, we have lined up a few things that we want to build under the umbrella of IOTA-J. So that was the plan, and we wanted to keep the name of the product really simple. Okay. And intuitive.
I mean, IOTA-J is simple, is it?
Yeah. Ask yourself. Everyone does it. I mean, can you imagine? I was pitching that on the VC table, and I was like, "What is IOTA-J?" And I had to explain that -√ Cartesian plane. I was like, "Oh wow!"
Did they actually get it?
Yeah.
Or were they like me, like, "Oh yeah, really good," and just nothing?
No, they were like, "That's very interesting. That's a very complicated name." Like, okay.
Okay, hang a minute. Let's take a step back. So you said you're co-founder.
Yeah.
So did you come up with the idea, then find a co-founder, or?
We actually came together, me and Ali. So we've known each other for almost 12 years. So we were both ex-IBMers.
How did you meet?
We met in IBM.
At IBM?
Yeah. I mean, he was the person who was working, the last person to leave the office. And I was the person who was the last person to come into the office because I was working in the US team. So I just used to hang out when everybody was leaving because that's the most chill time.
Right.
So we used to just talk about a lot of ideas. We did a few small startups before. So yeah, we have known each other for quite a while.
Were you with Ali in Turkey as well?
No. I met Ali in Pakistan.
Because you were over in Turkey, right? You did a startup thing over there as well?
Yeah.
Okay. But you met Ali in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So where did the idea come from?
It originated from Ali's pod startup, which is TWT. TWT provides SAP services to companies, integration and onboarding them to SAP for the bigger clients. And they had a lot of challenges in migrating data because of the data issues. And so he came up with, so he called me just one day and was like, okay, I want to build some product in order to get rid of this nightmare. It was like, there are a lot of services and we get a lot of clients. I mean, every time we have to do it manually and we don't really find good data experts. And it's always a challenge to find a really good expert at a reasonable price.
Okay.
So initially the idea was to be as intuitive as possible. For example, you just ingest the data and you get the analytics, but a lot of people are already doing it. For example, Microsoft Copilot does it with Power BI now. So
Right.
it was like, this is the easiest part to just transform the data. Just take the transformed data and put it into some visualizations. I think the challenging part and the most interesting part is actually transforming the data. That what you are mentioning, to take the data and then doing a bunch of stuff which only experts and very technical people know, and then transform it into a ready data set and then then put it into any visualization tool and ask questions about it. So that was the idea.
Biggest use case?
Biggest use
that you've
case
seen so far?
We have been reached out by a few companies in GCC in Saudi. So in Saudi they have a lot of market because they are on SAP usually, and on different ERP systems. ERP systems are very complex. A lot of different modules and silos sitting together, and they keep on adding them. So they wanted to do a lot of AI use cases.
Okay.
And this is the right tool to introduce them to AI use cases as well as build very complex cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you always been into this? Like growing up, were you always like the weird mathematics, physics, and numbers guy? Like, how did you? Can we go all the way back?
Yeah.
So you're from Pakistan originally. Yeah. By the way, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
There's some pictures kicking about. I've actually got a photo book from when I was there with my brother.
Yeah.
Early last 2023, I think it was.
You've been to Pakistan?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were up very north, but just before the border of China, and we did a motorbike tour. So we went through like Gilgit, the Hunter Valley,
absolutely gorgeous.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And just as we were coming back down on the bikes, all the cherry blossoms were coming out.
Oh, beautiful.
It was unreal. Like I knew nothing about Pakistan at all, and a friend of mine, Bob, that I got talking to, I was just saying that I want to do something for my brother's 40th birthday, and he's like, you should try this out, and I was like, okay. And then he sent me the link to this motorbike tour, and I reached out to them and then booked it straight away, and we went over there. We were there for I think about 10 plus days. It's a beautiful country. It's so good.
Yeah.
And everywhere you go, drinking tea all the time. It's like the best. It's the best. I'm from the UK, right?
Yeah.
So it's
the milk tea.
Yes. Oh man. But we on the route up to like the north of Pakistan. It's
absolutely gorgeous. Actually, Pakistan in any direction, it's very different landscape. On the north, it's very mountainous, very beautiful, chill, absolutely amazing weather.
Yeah.
And on the south side, it's desert, very historical.
Right.
Yeah, and on the eastern side, it's more like green and historical in a lot of places. For example, Lahore is one of the historical capitals of Pakistan. On the left, it's also very beautiful, dry mountains. So it's a very nice.
So basically, the whole place is beautiful.
Actually, you can find anything there. So it's like everything. It's kind of a blessing and kind of a curse to the tourism industry as well, because we don't really promote it, and it's kind of a blessing in disguise. We don't get a lot of tourists. It's still clean. Yeah,
I mean, growing up in the UK with all the movies and the media that you see, you form a picture of what a place is like.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, me and my brother, because my brother flew from the UK and I flew from here, we landed, and as we were in the car, we were like, holy shit, this place is awesome. It was like so nice.
Have you tried the cuisine?
Yes. Oh, there was a chicken. There's like a creamy chicken. What's it called?
Creamy chicken.
It's like
chicken.
No. Oh, that's really going to annoy me. I can't remember what it's called.
Creamy chicken. There are a few things.
Yeah.
Malai chicken.
No.
Malai tikka.
I'm going to try and find it. But
okay.
whilst I'm looking for this, what was it like growing up in Pakistan?
It was nice growing up in Pakistan, especially when I was growing up. It wasn't so much crowded. I grew up in Lahore. Lahore is a huge metropolitan now. A lot of people have migrated from different rural areas to Lahore, so it's very crowded, very expanded. I grew up in the center of Lahore, right next to, it's probably like 2 or 3 kilometers away from the walled city.
Right.
Yeah. And growing up, it was very clean. The Mall Road, it's a very historical place. You could have just walked there. It was pleasant, more pleasant than right now in terms of temperature and weather and dust. Not a lot of motorbikes. It was, growing up was really nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And now?
Now when I go there, I feel a bit crowded. Yeah, because of it's claustrophobic, I would say. Because of a lot of people, a lot of cars, a lot of different motor vehicles on the road.
Wasn't there a change in capital city that they did as well? They built like a whole new city. I can't remember. Forgive my ignorance on this one. I'm trying to recall when we were doing the tour, but they basically moved the capital from one place to another because of like a complete overcrowding, and it was like super congested and really busy.
It was Karachi before.
Yes.
And then they moved it to Islamabad.
Yes, that's right.
I actually lived most of my life in Islamabad because I went for the studies there. Have you been there?
So that's where we flew into.
Yeah.
So we flew into Islamabad, and then when we were leaving, me and my brother decided to just go out for like a bit of a run and have a look around the city. Dude, some of the houses around there.
Oh my goodness.
They're huge.
Yeah.
They're massive.
Yeah.
And there's like some like beautiful parks and like hikes you can do and all this kind of stuff. And it was awesome. Then there was a few people, like the local Pakistani guys that were like hiking, and they stopped us along the way. Like, oh, where you from? What are you doing here? Because I stand out. Like, I've been in Asia now for 15 years, right? It's like I'm easy to spot. And we just got talking to a lot of people, and they started giving us things. So one of the guys gave us his walking stick, and unfortunately we couldn't bring it back because we were getting on a flight. He's like, hope you have a lovely time. Thank you so much for coming to our country and all this. We're like, this is such a lovely place. Yeah. It's awesome.
The funny thing about Pakistanis, when they meet any foreigner, they sometimes they mistake me for as a foreigner as well.
Is it because of the...
because of the appearance, because of the dressing.
The amazing mustache.
Thank you.
How long have you been working on that?
Well, the last time I came here, it was until this short, without the handlebars. So it's probably like 2.5 months. It grew into handlebars.
Do you trim it, or you?
I don't trim it. I just trimmed it once because it was just curling from here. So I was like, just trimmed it on the top this time, like 2 weeks ago.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
With that, where did the look come from? The suits?
Just from school. Growing up, I was my father is in garments business, and so I always have the nicest clothes.
So basically, you took that part, you took all the garments part, but then when you were growing up, you got more into the tech side of things.
I was always a tinkerer. I was into electrical engineering early on, and then I moved my interest to aeronautical. Flying. I'm fond of flying.
Right.
Yeah. Still want to get a license for a private plane. Yeah, private flight. Awesome. So growing up, I was a tinkerer. I used to open up different things, watches, electrical instruments, and try to fix them. And I fixed them, most of them. So, I have done a lot of crazy, dangerous stuff as well. So I was kind of like a tinkerer, and I was always curious. So getting into computer engineering in the university was part of it.
Could you move that mic so people can hear you? There you go.
Yeah. Perfect. So growing up,
You said you were always a tinkerer. Did that come from anyone in your family, or was it just like a natural thing for you?
I'm not sure. I mean, if you're living in Pakistan, you don't really call a guy for everything. You try to fix it.
You figure it out yourself.
You figure out yourself. And I mean, if anything small breaks, like an iron or a heater, you just open it up, try to see that how the wiring is, and then try to fix it.
Yeah.
And I did that multiple times. So probably, I have seen my father, my uncles doing that a lot to open up different things, because they don't really call for very small basic things.
Right.
Anything. I mean, sometimes it's complex, like a water motor. They just will open it.
Can you fix a water motor?
Yeah, do you have a broken water motor?
I can go and break one and we can go and try and fix it.
I mean, if the transistor or if the capacitor is burned, then you just need to replace it. And that's a simple task. And most of the time, like 95% of the time, is that.
I'm gonna have you on standby, especially over here. Like, I'm not gonna move you to like a handyman or something like that, but I'll call you for advice. I'll get you on a video call and be like, "This is on fire. Like, how do I?"
On fire. Don't call me that if it's on fire.
it's already done. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
How did that move then? How did that go from tinkering on electrical stuff to then moving towards the data and
to the computer engineering? Computer engineering in Pakistan is completely different. It's not sitting at one place and writing code. It's I mean, I was in the military university in Pakistan, one of the top universities. So we have everything which engineers do. I used lathe machine to make small parts like gears and everything. I used woodworking. I did welding, everything. So you do everything. So this is a part of the curriculum that you. I mean, this university had live tanks completely dismantled there. So you go there, you see it, how it works. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, that was the interesting part. That's the challenge. For example, we have a university, which is the umbrella university, NUST, and then it has some colleges and some schools.
Right.
And the colleges are all military colleges, like from aerospace, from the Air Force, from the Navy, from the Army. I was in the Army one. And every one of those have their own equipment completely dismantled for their engineers to see and to work on. For Army, it was tanks, the tank carriers, these huge, big tired machines that tow heavy machinery, artillery, so armory. So this was all the part of the military Army zone or their area of expertise. So it's called Electrical and Mechanical Engineering, University of EME. So I mean, it was very interesting to just look into them, do a lot of things. I actually made a small chess with a lot of chess pieces using woodworking. So for the woodworking. And I don't know, I still have it. So
I was going to say, have you still got it? Do you travel with it?
No, not at all. So it might be somewhere in a cabinet back at my home. I haven't taken it out in 10 years.
But you still got it?
Because it wasn't complete.
What? Why didn't you complete it?
I mean, it's a lot of work. So I made one of each piece, like one rook, one bishop, one king, queen. So just a single piece and the table. So I couldn't finish it, but it's still like a souvenir.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You know, growing up, you ever played the game Snakes and Ladders?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's as far as I got with regards to board games. So I never fully learned chess.
Oh, living in Malaysia, living among all the chess hubs.
I never learned. Even now, like, my missus hates me for this, but I've never picked it up.
Well, I just know the rules. I played a little bit in university, in school as well, but I never picked it up. So I was called over to a friend in Russia. So I mean, Russians, how good are they in chess?
Yeah.
So his father, he's from Turkmenistan and still lives in Russia. So he was like, "Do you know how to play chess?" I was like, I just know how to play. Like, okay, let's play. And he mauled me like 20 times in a row. Like, and then he was like, "You're getting better now. You're thinking." I was like, "You checkmate in like 6 turns."
I suppose it's good learning.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not playing chess with you. Like, I was not after this. Like, this I'm going to teach you. Like,
Yeah.
just going to break me down so I start crying. It's like, this is what you need. No.
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 Well, it's a fun. It takes a lot of brain power.
It's good for strategy as well. Obviously,
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
10, 20 steps ahead or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen some of these guys playing chess. I'm like, I can't see. That's
Yeah.
insane.
I mean, when you don't really have a habit of playing chess, because it becomes like a game and you just learn the moves about countering any other move that another person does. So it's like all game is remembered. But when you don't know that, then you think about those 20 steps and it's very, very tough. In order to just move one piece, you have to really think deeper.
So if it's really like that kind of pattern,
Yeah.
then how do you become like the best in the world then?
You just learn a lot of strategies. They're like unlimited amount of. They're not unlimited, but they are like 2 raised to power 64. I mean, that's the amount of things that you can do on a chessboard, maybe even more. So then you play a lot, compete a lot, and then you learn different patterns, different strategies, and it becomes like a pattern recognition. Brain is very good in pattern recognition,
Right.
rather than mathematical calculation, which, for example, if you're a novice and newbie, so you strategize mathematically, like if I do this, he will do this and that. But for example, when you play it a lot, like all the grandmasters, it becomes like a pattern. Okay, the person is doing this. I am going to do this, because there are counters to every move.
So then how do you win? Like, there's a finite number of moves, I imagine.
There are a finite number of moves, but that finite number is very large.
Okay.
But because it's not just, the game theory, you move one piece, it becomes a chain of moves after that. So it's not like there are a finite number of pieces. Anything that you would do in that particular instance, it will lead to a new branch of all the moves that you can do next. And it's the same for the other person. So it becomes huge once you start your first move.
Were you so when you were playing this against your friend's dad?
Yeah.
Was this in Turkmenistan?
No, it was in Kazan. It was in Bugulman. There is a small village near Kazan, one of their major cities.
Right.
Yeah, it was there in Russia.
How long did you stay there for? Was that your first time kind of outside of Pakistan?
No. I actually traveled a lot. I've been traveling a lot since 2016.
Really?
Yeah.
What started that?
IBM started that. I was sent off to Qatar to Vodafone by IBM. I stayed there and then I came back. Then I went to Turkey and then came back and then went to. Then I started this chain reaction started. Then I just go to a new country or a new place every single year. Maybe like now it's very habitual. It's like the last year my bank account was cancelled because they marked me as NRI, no resident. I was like, what? Yeah, I was in Malaysia the last time I came here, and one day I checked in my credit card and it declined. I was like, what's happened? I opened my application and the application was account suspended. I called them. I was like, you're a non-resident Pakistani. The last year you lived here for a month. So that's how frequently I travel now.
So they just shut it down?
Yeah, but I gave them all the documents and they unsuspended it.
That's good. I know a few of my expat friends as well, they've actually had their banks cancelled.
Yeah.
As well, and just like from nowhere, so they ended up having to leave the country.
Yeah.
But then I think that's a story for another time. We can't get too political about it, right?
Yeah.
to be fair. But it's a certain nationality, or certain nationalities. So it was an interesting time for them.
Yeah.
So when you were 2016 was when you left first time.
Yeah.
And that was with IBM.
Yeah. I mean, IBM just sent you on your own, but it was in Qatar.
Have you always had like a travel bug?
Yeah, kind of. I always liked traveling, but now I absolutely love traveling.
Well, no, now, like,
Yeah.
well, you're off again, right, on the 30th? 30th, right?
Yeah. I'm going off on Thursday.
Tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah,
Oh.
tomorrow morning.
Lucky I caught you then.
Yeah.
For the travel stuff, how old were you when you first kind of left overseas for work?
Overseas, I was. How old I was? Probably like 23.
And that was in 2016.
16.
23. What, so you're 31 now? 31, 32?
Yeah, I'm 31.
You're very well put together.
Yeah.
You make me want to be a better man. I should dress. I should put my suits back on. I want to talk about your leather goods as well in a minute.
Yeah, by the way, actually this suit is also part of my same startup. I designed it. I found a person to do it by hand.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is that? Here?
No, not here, in Pakistan. I mean,
Do you have a website?
no, not yet. It's kind of strange because I get a lot of orders, but from the people who just see me carrying something and they want something like that, because it's very overwhelming. I designed it myself,
Right.
and I have a lot of other things going on as well, so I haven't started it. And I'm kind of a bit of perfectionist. I won't say a bit. I'm a very perfectionist, so I want the things to be immaculate. Like, so it gives me jitters when something is wrong, like a small thing is not working. So I pay very close attention. I get attached to it. So I don't take a lot of orders. That's why.
So you don't want a website?
No.
So are you saying that you don't want to, in a polite way, you're saying you don't want to take an order?
I would love to take an order.
It's fine, just you can't just say
not
it.
a lot of them. For example, if somebody asked me that I want 10 bags, I will
Yeah.
decline.
Yeah.
But I mean, if somebody wants one bag for himself, I would love to do that.
Because those, was it like a Derby Brogue kind of boot, was it?
It's an Oxford boot.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. It looks really good.
Yeah, it's an Oxford boot with it's called sock vamp. So it's like a full vamp without the curves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very neat look. I loved it.
All right. So, quickly, back we go to 2016. You were kind of moved away.
Yeah.
When you first moved away, you said 23.
Yeah.
23. What was your thought kind of moving overseas? Was it like a scary proposition? Were you like, don't know about this? Or
First time going to the airport was a bit scary because as a Pakistani, you need visa for everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, going to Qatar, I had like this huge booklet of documents just to not get arrested at the airport. Yeah, literally, I had a full book and I was like asking everywhere. And they just told me like an absolutely stupid thing. You need an okay to board. It's like, what's an okay to board? Like, you need an okay to board before. It's an e-visa. It's an e-bloody visa, but I need an okay to board. So I went to every counter. What's an okay to board? Sir, you're already okay to board. When you get a visa online, they already and I had this huge booklet that why I'm going there, what is my bank statement and everything.
it's just like, I just imagine the panic, like going through the airport trying to travel. It's not necessarily like the stress of traveling, more like, am I going to get arrested?
Yeah.
Am I going to make it through?
Yeah.
That must be crazy, man. Like,
and you know, the funniest thing, I travel fully dressed up.
Yeah, of course you did.
I went to the guy. He just looked at my passport and was like, yes, you can go. He didn't check any documents. And there is not stamped visa on my passport. This was my first travel. Nothing, empty passport. He just looked at me, my face, like, okay, so you can go.
Okay, that's
And
not
I
bad.
was just panicking. Yeah, this was the first time. Now I don't really feel anything.
So that was, you went to Kedah, right?
Yeah.
So when you went over there, you were with IBM?
Yeah, I was with IBM. But I mean, nobody was with me. I was just on my own. But
Solo trip?
Yeah, solo trip. But
what was it, like a 2-year posting kind of thing? Or?
No, it was a small trip to organize a series of workshops with Vodafone. And I mean, when you travel on behalf of IBM, you live in luxury.
Yeah.
You call an S class when you are traveling to the office. Just kidding, please don't take it. I didn't call an S class, but yeah.
I think because I moved here when I was 24. I've still got my bag, and it was a 30-kilo bag, just like with my life in it, all my clothes. And I got on a plane to come here. and I didn't know if I was gonna make it or anything like that. So when my obviously saying bye to my mum and dad, they were like crying and stuff, and I was like, okay, well let's see how it goes. Let's see if it works out. So it's like a decision to do it, and it's like one of two things are going to happen. It's gonna we'll make something of it, we'll make it work, or it'll all fall apart, and I'll end up going home tail between my legs kind of thing. It might be a bit different because you were with IBM when you were traveling. Were you nervous, like, oh, like what's it going to be like? Different cultures, different people. Like, did you have any anxieties around that, or were you?
Well, moving to Qatar was not a lot of anxiety when you get there. I mean, it's always just the airport and passport control, and that's it.
Right.
Once you get in, I mean, on the airport was a queue. He just checked it, stamped it, and you enter. But when you get there, it's very multicultural. So people speak Urdu, Hindi there more often than Arabic or English.
Right.
Yeah. And you don't really feel, you actually feel very kind of mixed. So it's very nice feeling. I'm not sure. I haven't, for example, the first time I moved to Russia for a conference, it was very different because you see anywhere and there's only one skin color. But in Qatar, it's completely different.
It's a mix.
Yeah, it's very mixed.
That's cool.
But now, if you enter Russia or in Kazan, you still see a lot of different skin colors. But I mean, back then, 2016, 17, in 17, it was just one.
So you were bouncing around with IBM for a while?
Yeah, I worked there for almost 3 years.
Mm.
Yeah, I was part of IBM Watson research team.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. I mean, I was doing work on NLP and small language models.
Right.
Before the language models ever existed. So now they're transformer based and they have a lot of complex architecture. But before then, it was very mathematical, natural language processing related.
I know we're flip-flopping a bit, but when you were at university, were you studying electrical engineering then, or was it computer science?
It was computer engineering. So it's part electrical engineering and specialization in computer sciences.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the full title. Because it's the university is called Electrical and Mechanical Engineering.
Okay.
So they had electrical engineering specialization in computer sciences.
Mm. So then was that where your interest in kind of AI, machine learning, NLP, all this kind of stuff came in?
Yeah.
And then when you left uni, did you go straight into IBM, or
I was hired in my last year.
By
I completed my final year project while I was in IBM.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
What specialty was that?
It was so let me give you a brief story. IBM was recruiting a small group of highly talented people or students who are still working, who has this acumen for entrepreneurship.
Right.
Yeah. And they, for example, they selected a very few people, like 2 or 3 trainees from one country in the MENA region. So they had like 20 different countries, and they select like 1, 2, 3 people. In Pakistan, out of what I was told, like 60,000 applications, only 5 people were selected, and I was one of them.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
What was that selection process like? Because I mean, it's quite interesting because they've identified you as having like an entrepreneurial spirit, but then also, I mean, you're not a dumbass as well, right?
Having a good LinkedIn profile back then. Nobody had a LinkedIn profile. I had a LinkedIn profile.
Was this would have been 2015?
Yeah,
14?
It was in 2015.
2015.
Yeah, I was it didn't have anything, but I had my internships, I had my education, I had my tests, everything was on that profile.
Oh,
I had added, for example, I participated in 2 startups within the university.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was already written there. So what I was doing and what are my tasks and what did I do for the company. With
the startups that were in the uni, was it part of like a business acumen kind of program, or was it just like...
it was actually startup. So
was it like you and some friends, was it?
Not my friends. So one of my teacher, so he started a social media company with Kentucky State University in the USA.
Oh, no way.
So it was called Bubble Hype.
Okay.
So... it was nice. I mean, it was something like to have conversations on a picture. So you have a picture like Instagram, but you have a group pictures. It was majorly targeted toward group pictures, a lot of them. So you can take or crop pieces out of the picture. Like you just tap it, make a square, and then a bubble appears. And bubble highlights the amount of activity on one particular part of the image. For example, if a picture is me and you standing, and somebody highlights you and start talking about you, there would be a completely new thread.
Start talking shit about you.
Yeah.
Hey, see this guy? Like, what a fucking loser. Doesn't even have a proper mustache. Like, that's where it came from. You're like, oh my God. It's like, come on.
If you grow a mustache, it would be beautiful.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
To be honest, it seemed like I'm compensating for a lack of anything up top.
No. I mean, it would be beautiful.
Do you reckon?
When I see your face, you know what it reminds me
What are you
of?
selling me? You're selling me something here. Like, you're trying to butter me up. Like,
No. I am saying that it will look amazing because you have the hair follicles of King George V.
Fuck. All right. Okay. I'll take it.
A bit lighter, but I mean,
I think honestly, of all the things I knew you were going to say today, that's
I'm
not.
going to give you the
that's
hair balm.
Yeah,
The mustache balm that you can use it. I don't use it.
I'll have to run it past my fiance first. Be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I think she'd get behind it as well.
Yeah, you know, I took it out. I grew this mustache. I was like, okay, I just want to grow it.
The mustache deserves good garments as well. I can't turn up looking like this if I've got a mustache like that, right?
Okay, yeah.
So it's got to be done.
Kind of, yeah. In line.
So yeah, we were talking about what was it called? Bubble hype.
Bubble hype.
Bubble hype. Question on that one. So you got working on this with one of your teachers.
Yeah.
Did your teacher ask you to work on it with him or her?
Yeah. He asked me to.
So, and that's an interesting thing as well, right? Because your teacher, whatever it is, specifically asked you to get involved in this. So why you and why not like the other folks?
I mean, in university, I was the kind of student who was a bit ahead of the curve. I used to reach out to learn new technology or new services that comes up very recently. So he was my he was my image processing teacher.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, while other people were making like small boxes bounce I even forgot this old antiquated software.
Right.
I was using like Maya 3D and all of these cool stuff, which was very recent. And I was doing a lot of things, and I was using image processing in order to extract a lot of things. So he saw that. He was my lab teacher as well, and he knew my grade. So I used to just slack in the lab and slack in the class, but when the actual work was going to do, I surpassed everyone. I was a good student. I mean, I wasn't the best.
Even though you were slacking.
Yeah.
But you were a good student.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I mean, I was
because I was a
slacking
terrible
because
student.
they were
While
I was slacking, it was like very antiquated, something which I already know or which I'm not interested in.
Okay.
But when it comes to an actual work, I was the first person who would complete it or who would be interested in doing even more.
So basically, was it fair to say like the curriculum based stuff, it was like old hat, old school? It's just like, this is fucking boring, man. Like, it's like you're already thinking what's the new stuff that I can learn from.
Can you imagine? I was teaching my object-oriented lab teacher what Python interfaces are, because I actually taught her what Python is and how the Python works and interfaces and everything. When everybody was introduced to Python writing print hello world. I was teaching her. And for example, my teachers literally used to tell me when I presented something very underwhelming to them, they were like, Qaim, this is absolutely not your work. We want something which is a Qaim's work. And literally my teachers have said it to me.
Right.
There is a language called Verilog where you program the microprocessor on your computer.
Yeah.
And it's like writing the code to use electric signals in order to work around, for example, ones and zeros. It's like a very low level language. And I took a sorting algorithm using the Verilog language, which is which was the only one project which was assigned to 4 people. And I mean, I did that in one night, and I had to leave to another city in the morning. So I was like, okay, guys, I cannot present it on the day. I asked my teacher, can I just quickly present my part? And I went to him and told him like, okay, I am going to leave. Can I quickly present my part? I just said my part.
Yeah.
And he opened it. I was like, I know what your part is.
Yeah, you don't need to
He just
present it.
opened it up, and he was like, I said that, okay, I have designed this. It automatically checks that if the instruction has been entered, and so this is my part. Like, I know what your part is.
Yeah.
Nobody even touched this code.
Okay, so because I was a terrible student, and I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to be better now, right? I'm doing more reading, learning now than like ever before. Like I can't learn enough, kind of fast enough, because I think the education system that I came up through was just not the best. And I think naturally I'm a lazy person, so I wasn't really looking out for like future technologies or anything like that. Unlike your good self. Where did that come from? You're just like, oh, I just want to learn new things. There's like thirst for knowledge.
Yeah. I am a.
You
hog knowledge.
You were a tinkerer, but then
Yeah.
that came from like a curiosity, I imagine.
Yeah. I'm still very curious. I read about a lot of things. Absolutely random things.
What's the most random thing you're reading right now or learning about?
I mean, I don't read. I'm not reading any book at the moment, but I read a lot of different articles on science, on technology, on biology, on chemistry. So just absolutely random things, but whatever catches my eye.
Have you heard this new theory that our universe is in a black hole? Did you hear about it?
In a black hole? No.
Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is me headline reading. I've got no depth to this kind of thing. But it's I think it was like yesterday or day before this came out. I don't know. I can't offer you anything other than that's what I heard. That and all the columns that are underneath the pyramids. Have you read about this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know much about the radar or LiDAR that's being used on that one, but I don't know how much.
Well, I don't know about that. Would be an interesting topic to read. Yeah, it is like science, a kind of like theoretical science. I was going to say fiction, but it's theoretical science now.
Fiction. Okay.
I love to read about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I love to read about everything. Sometimes like animals, like how do peregrine falcons have different plumage on a male and a female, and when they swoop, just random things.
What the fuck is that? Are you you're that guy like 4:30 in the morning? You know, like the random reels that your mate sent.
For example, like today when
I
wasn't sleeping, I would like just grab the phone and check that which article is interesting, and I was like, oh, that's nice. Psychology. Just absolutely random things.
I just finished. I don't know where it is. Is it Dr. Maxwell Maltz or Dr. Maltz? Have you read this? Psychocybernetics, positive psychology, and mental imagery and all this kind of stuff. That's worth a read. It's really old, but they've done a revamp of it. But it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
I will take a look.
I've got a summary. I'll send it over. Then from there you can see if you want to.
See if you
want to deep dive into it. We've gone off on a tangent. So we were IBM. Where were we? We were IBM.
We were growing up.
You were like back and forth, different countries, entrepreneur.
Your question, the last question was like
bubble hype,
and after that was the university. Like, for example, for me, the curriculum was antiquated, and
and then your teacher basically said, "Hey, do you want to work on this startup with me?"
Yeah. So I mean, university is a good part of social interaction. I never encourage anyone to just drop out of the university or start reading online on YouTube. Absolutely, you will learn a lot and you would be better than a person who would just graduate. But I mean, you will lack the social skills, and I have seen so many people.
I dropped out. I know. I dropped out after 2 years. Now you
socialize a lot,
but because I moved to a foreign country. Yeah. So when I moved here when I was 24, there's no option, right? You have to kind of go out and meet people and like find different communities, associations, do a lot of networking. I think so. For me, I'm very lucky because growing up, my mum and dad were very social. So they would always have parties.
Yeah.
So we were either going to parties for like either relatives or friends, or people would come to our house for parties. So we would be hanging around with adults and chatting and all that kind of stuff. So I think naturally we've always been quite social people. So for me, it's like going out. I was highly social at university. I think I went to 4 lectures across like 2 years. Like, I did a bunch of resits as well. I posted about this. We had T-shirts made, Team Resit, because we knew we were going to fail. There was one economics paper I went in for. I sat down. I was like, and then I got up and left, and that was it. I was terrible.
Well, you went to the university. I mean, getting to the university and dropping probably in the last year or second year, you have done your part of going to a university.
Yeah, I paid some money into the system.
Yeah,
that's what I did. But I think there's a lot to take away from that in terms of actually applying yourself and being interested in what you want to do.
Yeah.
And even if there is like the curriculum isn't the best, there's ways to kind of further your studies and get ahead whilst you're there.
Exactly.
Like the fact that your teacher like singled you out to work on this thing, it's like there's always interesting opportunities if you don't just fuck about, which is what I did. I kind of wasted quite a bit of time. I'm making up for it now though, so it's not too bad.
Still, my teachers sometimes just call me to take an opinion, and I sometimes just call them like randomly. Yeah. And I blabber a lot about the bad curriculum. Or like, I was preparing for a mathematical exam, and I literally called up my teacher so frustratingly, and I called him like the math curriculum in the university was absolute crap. I have to read everything from scratch because it was so bad. It was full. I mean, absolutely ghastly.
With great word, ghastly, by the way. I don't hear it enough. I've got a question for you on this, especially around education curriculum. So there's a friend of mine that started a company, a couple of them, around kind of communities and education, because of his thoughts and beliefs about modern day education, especially within like the mainstream system. I think there's a bit of a concern, right? So even back then, you're saying this curriculum is garbage for like mathematics. Like right now, with the speed at which things are moving around, kind of, I mean, if we want to use it, I know it's cliche, whether that's DeepSeek or ChatGPT or any kind of LLM, I found that even over the last 12 months, say 6 months, the speed at which things have moved, it's rapid. And like what you need to learn to stay on top and keep moving ahead is like, it's unreal. But there's no feedback into the education system around what people should be learning or be aware of. There was a panel discussion happening. It was about AI, of course it was. I don't know. Yeah, everyone's doing an AI panel nowadays. It was a few months ago, and now I asked them. They were technologists, and one of them was a VC as well. And I asked them their thoughts and opinions and concerns as dads of the education system, awareness about education, sort of like AI technology, AI, machine learning, like large language models, like how this is all kind of going to play out in the next few years, and how they're preparing their kids to leverage it, use it, be wary of it. Because I mean, there was a situation about 3 weeks ago in one of my friend's schools where somebody was using like deep fake stuff to put like students' heads on other people's bodies. Like it was young boys that were doing it for like and it's like, how do you talk to your kids about this? Like, because it's all being shared around social media and everything like this, and it's like a scary prospect that looks so real. I don't know. The question for you on this is, how is the education system going to keep up? Like,
the education system has always been lagging in terms of adopting the latest technology, adopting the market, what is suitable for market. But actually, I think it's my personal opinion that education system isn't responsible for any of it. I mean, you as a person are, and people usually get into a university and they slack and they just go with the flow. Yeah. But you can do a lot of things. Everything is free for now. YouTube, Codecademy. Yeah. There are a lot of Coursera gives you financial aid to some of their best specializations. You don't have to pay a penny.
That's cool.
And you still, if you are learning what the curriculum offers you, because curriculum takes a lot of time and a lot of red tape to adapt to it. There are a lot of bodies that are responsible for vetting and then giving a consensus that what needs to be adopted into the system. So it's a slow moving system.
Yeah.
So you cannot really expect that, for example, in Malaysia, in Pakistan, in any country, if a university would suddenly adopt the latest curriculum, and it's getting, the quality of education is plummeting after the release of OpenAI, all of these language models, DeepSeek, and everything.
Really?
The reason is that the students are just relying on them.
Yeah.
They have a basic assignment, and they just ask Chat because it's so easy now.
Yeah.
So they don't. Back in my days when this didn't exist, people at least had to go to another person to ask for something.
Yeah.
Take it, copy it, change the things.
But they need to understand it in order to change it as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you copy another person's code, you actually go through it that, okay, these are the variables which I need to change the name for.
Right.
Maybe like logic a little bit. For a while loop, I will use a for. You have to at least study a bit. But now you just ask ChatGPT, change it for me. And it does. It really does.
So is that going to make those specific roles, so those assignments are done for a specific role?
Yeah.
Does that make those roles redundant?
I mean, in education, it's not meant to be redundant. The reason for being it redundant is that it is required for you to learn, to understand. Even if it's redundant, you need to learn the process, you need to learn how it works. And right now, with all of these systems, you have to be expert now in order to keep up with the market. You cannot just expect that, okay, I will just get a job at Fortune 500 and ask ChatGPT to write my code. You will definitely write a code by ChatGPT. I expect you to do that. But you have to be so good in order to validate a code and transform that information into something which you're working on from ChatGPT. For example, last night I spent like 3 hours in order to write a particular code to sort out all of my files in my computer, because I bought a new hard drive and I wanted to just sort the files out automatically. I was like, okay, there are like 15,000 files. I'm not going to do that. I wrote a code with the help of ChatGPT. So there were a lot of documents in order to just read the title and sort them into different researches. And I did that. I checked it, and it corrupted a few of my files, because when it was transferring from one disk to another, when the file had a specific, for example, like OSV or ODT as an extension, so while it was moving, it corrupted a few of the files. And I had to check it, that what's happening there and what's going wrong. So now you have to be expert in order to validate the code and write all those steps that you understand as a professional. It's challenging now. People think that it's getting easier, but it's getting actually more challenging.
Because there's more people producing more code, which can be a lot of shit. So you've got to sort the bad stuff from the good stuff in simple terms.
The thing is that these are generative models. They will generate anything that you will ask them.
Right.
In order to understand that where that particular thing fits in and how it fits in, because they don't know your system. There are a lot of confounders to your system, which only you understand, and that it's invisible to any LLM. So you have to be expert in order to write very specific instruction, understand the methodology, taking that out and using that. And this is the same in learning as well. For example, when you are in an education system, you have to be a bit ahead of the curve. You have to be more inquisitive. You have to understand more to write a code and then to vet it. It's for the augmentation. It's not automation. You cannot expect them to write codes and make applications and ask ChatGPT to make a self-driving car. It will definitely bump on the first turn it will turn. And probably kill a child on the way. So you can't really expect that.
That's a dark way to put it. Interesting
humor.
point that you mentioned about the education system, though, in terms of the responsibility. And I think this is where it starts to get even more interesting, because, I mean, if you see any of the international schools, whether that's primary school, secondary school, or getting into the university, the fees to get into these schools are
humongous.
Right? So isn't there a responsibility on the education system to keep up if they're going to charge what they do?
The expensive education systems usually charge for class. They charge for status. They charge for the degree that they name. So, I mean, would you expect a Louis Vuitton to give you a bag for $100? I mean, you can get a better bag made by hand for $100.
Is this your pitch?
No, I mean, my bag's expensive.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
Not as expensive as Hermes or Louis Vuitton, but yeah.
So because this was the question, right? As a society, there's a responsibility, and I don't know enough for corporates, like governments and educational institutes. I think there's a collective need to see how quickly the education system can move to keep up, to equip people and equip the youngsters for these, not necessarily at the university level, but even, coming into primary school, because like we talk about what education do you need? To your point, like the code validation is like, okay, sorting out the wheat from the chaff, like the good from the bad, and how things actually work. It's not necessarily writing the code, but like the quality checking of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, how quickly do we then start to think about curriculum, modules, education?
It's actually getting back to the basics. Now you have to be more versed in mathematics. You have to be more versed in calculus. Now it's getting back to the basics.
So good understanding context.
Yeah, context, understanding the actual parameters.
Yeah, this is the weird thing as well, right? It's the same in sales. It's going so far with like AI and automation and personalization that I think, write me a sales email for this.
Yeah.
Very easy to execute.
Yeah.
But I posted some stuff about this because it's very annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to scrape if you're online, you can scrape whatever you want and you can make a hyper personalized message, but there's zero relevancy.
Exactly.
There's no relevance for me. And if you don't understand the context behind what you're trying to produce and why, then it's garbage. Yeah. So it can look fancy, but it doesn't mean anything because I'm not going to say yes to it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that we kind of come back to that, like the basics, the foundational.
Yeah, the foundation, the human touch. It all get back to that particular part, that now you have to get back to that particular human touch. I mean, also these systems are very verbal. You will ask them to write an email. It will be like 1,000 words email. I'm nobody going to read. Yeah. I have seen the huge messages in my LinkedIn. I was like, oh, what the hell? I'm not going to read that. The last thing is like, hope to... That's the only thing I'm reading now.
Book a time on my Calendly here. Yeah. I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, I'm not like, you're sending me this garbage. Like,
yeah, exactly. Oh. And Ali is very good in actually writing so he spies on a person who's going to write an email. He will read all of their posts. He will know the person in a virtual way, that where he's going, what he's doing. It's scary.
The stalking.
And then, he's a stalker. And when he writes a personalized email, I mean, he gets a response 80% of the time.
See, I think there's that idea of, I believe in relevancy over personalization. If you can bring the two together, that's when you're going to get.
And he doesn't use any of these systems. I mean, probably he will ask them to proofread it or correct the grammar, and that's it. And he will write that small message. And he doesn't write like a paragraph, like write a message that I really liked your article on this, and that's it. And probably in the next conversation, when we'll get a response, he will say that, okay, I'm doing this, and what about we have a chat? And that's how you actually get people to understand you, connect with you, and
You should teach me about sales.
No.
Come on,
no.
Please.
Oh, sorry, I just forgot.
No, so I think when you're too into like a specific topic, like a specific I'm in sales, you have to kind of break out of that and start reading around the fringes. Whether that's either marketing or branding or going into like tech and product in particular, because you need to understand the user, and the only way to understand the user is to ask open-ended questions and find out more about, well, how do you use this? Why do you use this in such a way? So it's more of a back and forth conversation, which is obviously what sales is. Yeah. So the questioning techniques on what you're trying to achieve through like product is like product management. There's so many overlaps. So when I used to work with Isaac, my old head of product, same thing. Like how they used to do user interviews. I was like, there's so much to be gained from this. Even more so now, there's a massive book, I've got it somewhere. There's a coaching like for open-ended questions and like following a specific flow or a formulaic way to actually engage with somebody. The overlap in terms of sales, because it's basically human psychology, right? It's like, but it's so missed because people are missing the nuances because there's so much in sales and AI and personalization.
And I think I would take it from my leather bag business. That's very particular. That I mean, for example, there was a guy who saw my bag and he reached out to my friend that, okay, I saw your friend, he has a nice bag. They were like, oh, he makes all of these things. Like, okay, I want one as well. So he gave me his number and I was talking to him. I wanted to have this conversation, like what kind of, it's very personalized. Like I keep my charger here, I keep all of these things here. So particular pockets and design in a way that it's very personal to you. Nice. And he was like, no, I just want this bag. And he sent me an Hermes bag. And I was like, can you make it? I was like, I can make it. Can you also put Hermes on it? I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I was like, what the hell? I mean, I'm offering you something very special. Yeah. And you just want another thing.
Just want the brand name. Oh my God. Okay.
I was like, no, imagine just same thing. It was a document holder and it was like, can you just make it? I was like, okay, but you want something specific that you can keep. I can customize it. Yeah. No, just make it like this. And after they were like, can you also put Hermes on it? I was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Can you, after this, can you show me a bunch of like different things that you've done? I really want to see them. I'm quite interested.
Yeah.
So I've got, I mean, being here in Asia, we're quite fortunate because you can get bespoke suits.
Yeah.
Shoes. I'll show you the shoes that I've got.
Oh, definitely.
Everyone hates them because they're purple suede and they've got some like different piping on them and pink laces. So
great. Yeah. So they're really cool.
Yeah, I'm a little bit flamboyant with some of these things. I know it doesn't look like it. I'm pretty beige at the moment, but yeah, we can talk more about this entrepreneurial thing. So it seems like when like the bubble hype thing, you mentioned you're involved going back to education in 2 startups. The first one was bubble hype. Why did you decide to get involved in that? Did you see something like in particular, like this has got like potential to be something, or was it like I got potential to learn something, or a bit of both?
It was a bit of both, and it was a part of one of the accelerators there in Pakistan, one of the top accelerators back then. It was called Plan 9, and they got into that, and they were funding in a way that they were giving you, what is it called? They were giving you some small amount of money to be there and work there. So I was like, okay, that's a nice way to just join something and see that how, and it's not just one startup. So you go there into an accelerator and you talk to a lot of people who have all of them have their own startup, and somebody's building X something, somebody's building like ABC and absolutely different things. And this was a very interesting chance for me to learn as well as to contribute. I mean, as a second year student, you are chief marketing officer. I mean, like an intern where nobody will hire you as an intern, you are a chief bloody marketing officer.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, dude, it's all downhill from there. It's like you start at the top.
Like, damn. Now I'm a trainee in IBM.
Like what happened?
From chief bloody marketing officer.
Oh, there you go. That must be a big hit to the ego.
No, actually you learn to control your vanity.
Yeah?
Yeah. You understand that these titles, they don't really mean anything. I mean, you are a CTO, co-founder of a startup which has like 10 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you are for example, you are a senior data scientist in a company who are more than 1 million people. So yeah, that
it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, talking about roles and titles and all that kind of stuff, it's, whenever I've kind of been a chief of anything, I've just found that the people that are on the team that I'm kind of taking care of, they're fucking way smarter than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All what they call it, blocking and tackling. I'm just a shit shield. How can I stop stuff interfering with what they're really good at?
Yeah.
It's normally just like funding stuff, political stuff. Like, how do you kind of stop that and be like, okay, you guys, like, let's come together, let's work on this cool stuff. These are wicked smart.
This is actually good because this happens in startups.
Startups.
Yeah, startups who are very smart.
Yeah.
And usually the startups are composed of people who are absolutely very smart in something.
Yeah.
And when you get into that and you see that all of them are actually better than you in terms of education, in terms of experience, and then you actually challenge yourself to be.
Dude, talk about keeping your ego in check.
Yeah.
And the only way to really grow the business is to hire and find people that are smarter than you and bring them on board.
Absolutely.
And it's honestly, I find it tough.
Yeah.
Because they just are wicked smart, and you're talking to them, and like, oh my god, what? And then over time, just like, they just know more stuff. They're in it every day. Like whether that's the marketing folks I've worked with, sales dev, even salespeople as well. Like across the board, it's like, okay, like come on board. Tell me what to do. It's like, this is the way we're going. This is like the overall vision that we've got for like how we want things to be. How do we get there?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you were Bubble Hype, and then there was another one that you were involved
it was adverts.ai.
This is the one that you did in Turkey that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute. So when you did adverts.ai, you were still at uni?
Yeah.
Were you?
No, the adverts.ai wasn't in uni. There was VRET, virtual reality exposure therapy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So the adverts.ai was, did you come out of uni and then, so did you do that? Can you talk about that in parallel with IBM?
I did that in parallel with IBM. So actually it was using, for example, in IBM, I was an advocate of all the AI and Watson services and developing upon that. And in IBM Watson, they had image processing service that takes out, for example, it takes out an image, it looks at an image and extract a lot of different features, which was fascinating. For example, it will look at you and will say that, okay, light colored hair, light colored skin, blue eyes, likes to wear Henley, light colored jeans. So I have a catalog of these different products. So he's passing by this billboard. Let's present it to be something very specific to this guy. So for example, this Henley this polo will actually complement this color of your jeans. Something like that. And you will be fascinated. Yeah,
I remember this. What year was this that you were looking at this?
It was 2017, 18.
2017.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was in a data labeling space, like for image recognition.
Yeah.
And perception technology as well. There was a big conference, CVPR, that happened in the US. I was over there. But yeah, this was the thing, like hyper personalized kind of adverts, so they could recognize your kind of face, age, gender, what you're wearing, and be like, oh, how about this?
Yeah.
What happened to it?
Well, first of all, I presented in Russia, where the billboards were very hardware.
Okay.
So that was the first part, and the second was it was kind of scary for people. For example, it will look at me.
Sorry.
So it was like people, it's looking at me. How does it know? Because it was also estimating age, gender, and everything. Like, oh, this is scary. Why would somebody do that? And I presented it in terms of like, for example, you're sitting in an airplane, and you already know which seat you are going to, and you are passing down a lot of security cameras and, for example, a lot of advertisements. So they can actually extract a lot of different things and can present you material during that time screen that would be interested in you in terms of, for example, the movie that you will like to buy, or these are the things in duty free that you will be interested in. But I presented in Istanbul airport. It wasn't built yet. It was just a plain field. They were still building it. I presented there as well. So they showed interest, but they were like, why would we want to do that? People don't really buy, it's just for the marketing image and this and that. And they were like thinking in a bit antiquated way.
Right.
Like, okay, it doesn't really have to increase the sales. We don't really need it. For example, we will get Chanel to give us a handbag and we will just post it on our billboard and that's it. Something like that. So they weren't really interested. And we got a few business opportunities working with Kareem, working with a few other small companies in Pakistan to give them marketing analytics and a lot of this stuff. We gave a demo of this billboard, but it also had cost associated to the billboard. Okay. Like it requires a camera, it requires a small, for example, like everyone is now calling it an edge processing and everything on the edge. So it required that in 2017 when nobody even knew what an edge is, and you have to explain them, okay, I would use a Raspberry Pi in order to transfer. So yeah, it was a bit complicated in terms of selling it, and the OPEX was a bit high. So we shifted it toward providing services for marketing analytics and
Right.
a lot of that. But then me and my partner, we decided to,
Chop it.
yeah.
You know, when you were doing that, did you do any kind of pilots or POCs where you'd actually done the retrofits for like the cameras and like everything?
No, not the complete retrofit, but we used some cameras. And for example, we used the camera for screen, the laptop or computer, like a big computer screen, and the small camera like a webcam, and extracted these features and presented the relevant items from the catalog. But that was about it.
I was just curious about like if there was any kind of data you collected to suggest that by putting these things in place, then you'd see an uptick in kind of market, like actual.
This was the study that we did with Kareem. So, I mean, it was a
Can you hold that
marketing
thought? I just want to check something.
Yeah.
Okay, adverts.ai. And you were saying you worked with Kareem on this one?
Yeah.
But it just moved more towards the marketing analytics. But, you know, based on this like personalization stuff, did you see any improvements in terms of customer purchases or anything like that? Did you actually track it?
We were tracking their promo code. So they had this QR code, for example, that gives you a discount. So they had it on different billboards. So we were tracking like where people actually scanned that. But they also had it on plastic bags or their non-plastic bags, eco-friendly. So they had it on them as well. And they needed to track that where these promo codes are being tracked. So we were collecting data from the demography, where this person has scanned the code, for example, where it originated. So there were like different QR codes. So it was tracking the movement of their marketing material, that where it has reached. So it was nice. It was a good product. It didn't really pay much, but it wasn't interesting.
Could they demonstrate ROI using it? Like, if we invest?
I mean, for
X
them,
time,
they
yeah.
can. They might, because it's like giving you a 10% discount on the cream car ride. So you can track it that, okay, this person has availed it. And for example, if he has started using Kareem or has registered, so they might track it that maybe conversion as well. But I didn't have any idea that what did they do with that particular
For those
data.
that might not be familiar with Kareem, what is Kareem?
Kareem is an e-hailing company acquired by Uber now.
It got acquired by Uber?
Yeah, for $2 billion bloody dollars. It's one of the Pakistan's unicorn.
That came out of Pakistan, did it? Kareem?
Well, I mean, the founders are Pakistani, but there are a lot of Pakistani founders in the US and in Dubai who are billionaires. So
of course.
it came out of Dubai.
Are you a secret billionaire?
No.
No?
No.
You could pass us one, you know. Especially with those shoes you got outside.
Well, I usually go to Patek Philippe boutiques and try out their watches, and they think that I will come back and buy them.
Yeah, I just need to go and check with my driver to make sure, like, nothing see you later buy.
I think I'm interested in Vacheron Constantin, you know. I'm a bit vetting against Audemars Piguet Vacheron, and I wanted to check how does Cubitus look like on my wrist.
Are you a brand guy?
I'm not a brand guy. I'm more of a attention to detail guy.
Okay.
So if a brand has a lot of attention to detail and it inspires me or it attracts me, then I will definitely buy it.
Favorite brand? For that reason, like perfectionism, attention to detail.
It can be different in different things. For example, in one particular thing, I can't say like Adidas, like a general. In what particular thing? For example, in watches, I can tell you.
Go on then.
I would say Omega.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of Omega watches. It's not the current ones, but from the 60s and 70s. I just love their aesthetics. Yeah, that would be the one.
You said you have a lot of Omega watches?
I have probably 20 Omega watches, and I have a total of 100 watches. I'm a watch collector.
You're a watch collector. Are you a watch trader as well? Or
No, oh my goodness. I get attached to my watches so much that I have not sold a single one. I mean, there was a watch that I just got it out of that. Okay, this is an automatic chronograph, like this big of a size. And I wanted to get rid of it, but I still cannot get rid of it.
Why?
I don't know.
You just love it too much?
No, I don't love it. I absolutely hate it, but still, it's like, no, I think...
It's part of my collection, or no one will buy it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a bit of both. People actually showed interest, because usually people have, for example, you can buy it. Yeah, it's the same size.
So I'm not a watch guy. So this is a utility.
Yeah.
So for like endurance races and stuff like that. Plus the fact I'll just like big watches. I think I get that from my dad. I think you're the first startup founder I've met that's got a collection of 100 watches and 20 Omega ones.
Yeah.
How do I put this without coming across as crude, crass, or rude? How the fuck?
I mean, I just like.
I mean, VC money's got to go somewhere. It's like.
Oh my goodness, VC money won't buy me like 10 watches.
Yeah, this is true. It shouldn't. It should go into the business.
Yeah, it is going into the business.
When did you start your watch obsession?
Growing up, I got my first watch dismantled. It was my father's watch, a basic Seiko 5.
Yeah.
So I took it. I was like always curious because people has this perception in Pakistan that automatic watches run on the pulse. Yeah. It's like, what the hell? How does it run on a pulse? There is nothing under the pulse. You're wearing it over the top of the... What the hell? I wanted to take a look inside. So I took some scissors, opened it up like this, and there is like there is a tool to open the back case, but
Right.
I took the scissor and just improvised and opened it up. And when I looked at, there is a rotor, like a weight, which revolves when you move around
Right.
your day. I was like, okay, that's how it's working on the bloody pulse. So yeah.
Pulse-based charging.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I took it out and I really got fascinated by the small beating heart and a lot of small moving parts and just this small thing.
Yeah.
And I was attached to watches, and also I like to keep a bit away from a lot of technology. Like you have a computer, you have a mobile phone,
Yeah.
and then you're wearing a computer. Yeah.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah, I mean, so I like to keep things simple. A watch is a gentleman's only piece of jewelry.
Shit, I'm embarrassed.
No. So, I mean, men don't really have a lot of jewelry.
What's the watch you've got on now?
It's an Omega Constellation.
I wish I had more follow-up questions to that. Why is this watch special?
First of all, this is a 1968 watch, and it has a beautiful patina. So the Constellation, as you know, is Constellation.
Yeah.
This is a special, very coveted watch called pie pan because the dial looks like a pie pan. And the Constellation, it has a beautiful patina as it aged. Like it looks like a constellation. You can take a look. So it's like small bubbles and variation in the dial that actually looks like it's stars.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, and this is a. This
Was
is
it-
like
you said
3
90
times my age.
This is 1968, you say?
Yeah, twice my age, not 3 times. Yeah, so.
That's a lovely bit of kit.
Yeah.
I've got to ask, like, if you're running a startup,
Yeah.
how do you continue to expand that watch collection?
No, I don't. I
No?
don't.
Just keep
Yeah,
it.
I mean, for example, for my pay, I can maybe like spoil myself a little bit, like buy a cheaper one. But I'm not buying any.
The cheaper one, Breitling.
Breitling are really huge watches.
I know.
Yeah.
I think you are. I wouldn't have you down as a Breitling guy.
Yeah.
I'd have you down as a Rolex guy as well.
I have a Rolex. I
Old-
was wearing that in an old one.
Old one.
Yeah, I was wearing it on a hiking trip, and I was like, "Are you secret?"
What the fuck? What? Why were you wearing it on a hiking trip?
I just-
hang on a minute. If you got a watch for like a special occasion, like
No,
this is
I
my
was
this
just
is my
wearing-
running Amiga, or this is my hiking.
No, I just wear something which I personally feel like wearing today.
Yeah.
For example, from the outfit, and this is a small Speed King. It's called Speed King
Okay.
from Malcolm Campbell. Yeah,
I don't know these things.
Sir Malcolm Campbell
I know
from
Sir
the
Malcolm.
UK.
Yeah, so I know Sir Malcolm Campbell, but I don't know the.
He was
So-
called Speed King. So Rolex. He was wearing a Rolex when he completed the fastest driving car record in the world. He was wearing a Rolex, and he wasn't. He was just writing to Rolex that okay, it's keeping good time and it's working. So they named
The name
the
of this-
next Rolex as Speed King.
No way.
I had that one. I mean, not his one. I would have been billionaire if I had that one, but
Oh man.
but I have like a similar one, and I was wearing it on there because I was feeling like fast. I felt fast that day.
You felt that. Was it like were you manifesting speed on your
Yeah.
hike?
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got Bubble Hype, Adverts.ai. So did just a quick one on Adverts.ai. Was it running Watson as well?
yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Was it part of IBM? Was it like an incubated?
I mean, not really incubated. So it was just using the services. We got a lot of few free credits when we signed up for IBM Cloud,
Right.
and we were using that.
Okay. So
And-
then, I'm curious then, because obviously you were with IBM for quite some time,
Yeah.
and then you made a switch. Voluntary?
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
I'm out, entrepreneur time.
Yeah, kind of like that. So I got a better offer, like 4 times the pay.
Holy shit.
Yeah, into a startup, a UK-based startup
How did they find you?
on LinkedIn. All of my jobs, I always in my training program in IBM.
Yeah.
They reached out to me first on LinkedIn. I never applied for anything. They're like, okay, we like your profile. Would you like? Literally, I thought that it was a scam call. Like, hello, I'm calling from IBM. So I am looking at your LinkedIn profile. Would you like us to apply for you in this training program? I was like,
Don't ever
What?
call me again, like
I was
like a Nigerian prince.
like, do I like to what? Being applied in IBM? I don't think so. No, not really. I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. I mean, if you're not scamming me for like
If you're
a 5,000 Pakistani rupees in my pocket, then I'm good.
That's it. It's only
I'm
going to cost
golden.
you this much. Send me a copy of your passport. In
Yeah.
fact, send me the physical passport.
Yeah,
Mate, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
So there's a lot to be said for kind of the branding and marketing of oneself.
Exactly.
Very early
Yeah,
on.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh damn! So basically, you landed IBM before you even left uni.
yeah.
Second year, the second year of uni, they were like
Yeah,
Hey,
the last year. Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
So you were working through like your final year.
Yeah,
knowing
the
full
final
well-
project we just have one subject, which is the final year project. I
Right.
was doing it alone, so I went to Karachi, a completely new city,
Why?
because IBM's training program was there, because
Oh.
it was under UAE.
But you didn't have to go. Did you move there on purpose to be closer to IBM?
They just wanted every training in Pakistan to be in Karachi,
Right.
so I moved there.
But you were still at uni at the time, not working
yeah,
for IBM.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, I took like a kind of like a sabbatical. But like
Okay.
I just told my supervisor that he was super excited that I got a job in IBM. Like, okay, you can go, you can I think you can do your work from there. Like, I'm already done with my work, but I have to do a lot of documentation. I'm like, yeah, just submit it. Don't worry. I literally submitted an empty disk.
Really?
I mean, I was like, nobody's gonna check. Let's take a risk. I sent it. Nobody really called me that I sent an empty disk.
So you basically you rolled the dice. What was
I
your
mean, I did complete work. I submitted, I displayed, I presented everything.
yeah?
But I was like, okay, they're gonna steal my idea, my precious.
That's okay.
I'm not going to give them the code. So I sent them the empty disk, and they accepted it. They gave me an A.
You graduated
Yeah, of course.
first class honors or two?
First class honors.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Of course you did. Is that the first time you bought yourself a nice watch?
No. Well, no. I got
No, it was like 5 years before that. Like
yeah, my first watch was way before, but I mean, an actual working, really good watch I got in IBM.
Yeah.
It was a Longines.
your Longines.
Yeah, in IBM.
I would ask you the make and model and all that kind of stuff, but it wouldn't mean anything to me. Maybe it might mean something for somebody else. What was the model of the Longines?
It's Charleston. I don't really remember. It's from 1930s, because it's a hand wind, small, very petite model. Beautiful watch. I was actually complimented in a Patek Philippe boutique for that particular watch.
No way.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you are wearing a beautiful watch. Can I see it? Literally. And I gave him, oh, this is a very beautiful and very nice watch. It's gold. Yeah, Patek Philippe. This is like 100th the price of
Why'd you go for your Longines? Why was that the first one you wanted to get?
I mean, I just found it in an auction. I liked it. It was in my budget range.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. Simplistic dial, just 2 hands, no second hand, gold. I mean, I wear silver watches a lot, but it was like very nice, beautiful gold color.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, oh, nice. It's not breaking the budget. So I bought it. I put on a good strap. It was just the dial.
Right.
And I bought Longines Link. So yeah, I wore it for quite a long time.
So did the obsession start with the dismantling of was it Seiko?
So it actually, yeah, it started from there, and
Yeah.
it was I mean, it was on high acclivity when I actually got my watch serviced. So I went to a watchmaker and I was like, okay, I want to service my Longines. So he opened it up and he took apart every single part. And I mean, this huge board was covered with small parts, and I was obsessed there. Because initially I just opened it and looked at it. Well, it's not dismantled, just case back, but now it's all dismantled and it's beautifully decorated movement. And I was like hooked. Like, I love this watch.
You're kind of pulling me in by telling me this story. Yeah, I know. Story selling.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You ever seen the videos of the people making the Prada shoes? The handmade Prada shoes. There's some reels and videos going around that from like years ago. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you want to buy a pair of shoes like that.
Yeah, but you're from UK.
I am.
Buy John Lobb. Sorry.
Okay, I will. Sorry, everybody. I'll check it out.
Get a bespoke shoe from them, not the John Lobb from LV.
No. Okay, I won't. So the bespoke shoes I've got, the purple ones, they were actually bought from Hoyan.
Hoyan. Is it good?
I like them. I've got my green suit in there as well. I can't wear them together because it look like the Joker. But yeah, it's a nice.
I was thinking that maybe going for the Joker is fine.
Yeah, I think, and especially if I get I'd look like a villain.
Willy Wonka.
Probably, actually. I need to get myself a cane as well.
The top hat.
No, I don't have one. I should get one. All right, Adverts AI. You were in IBM. You left. Why'd you leave IBM?
For 4 times the job and working with a very cool product, because in IBM I was getting stagnant. I created a lot of new things, and now the project was in production and we were just providing support. So I was part of that team and I provided support for like 3 months, and I was like super bored. Like I need some thrill. So I went to I was called from this company. I consulted with one of my mentors.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, quit. Yeah, quit. I will suggest you to quit. I mean, he said quit like 4 times in one sentence. So I was like, I'm sure that I'm going to quit. And you know, the funny thing, I didn't know that he was quitting. He's a very senior guy.
In IBM? In
IBM. So
right.
In IBM, the interesting thing is that there are a lot of alma mater from my university.
Right.
Yeah, so he was the most senior one. I'm from degree 34, he's from degree 9, so you can see the difference.
Okay. Yeah.
So quit. And then I quit, and I understood that he put on a resignation before telling me to quit as well. He's the CIO of one of the biggest companies in Pakistan.
Now?
Textile companies, yeah.
Damn. So you quit after that 4 quit sentence?
Yeah.
Went to this company?
Yeah, I went to this company.
Was it remote work?
No, it was actually working in the office, but I mean, they had a small team. They were working in the UK, so they had an established team in Pakistan.
Oh, okay.
Some of the engineers, I was hired to advance their methodologies in AI adoption and refactor their code.
Right.
And I went there, and it was a shit show.
Isn't that normally the case? So didn't you know what you were walking into?
But I mean, you understand that startups are smart ups, not shit ups. It was the shit up. I mean, absolute garbage, ghastly leadership. And you know, you can tell.
Question for you on that one.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, how come you didn't see that before joining?
Well, I was talking to the CTO who, for example, was residing in UK.
Right.
And they had an office manager, an engineering manager, and everything established in Pakistan. So I didn't know about that.
Okay.
So when I got there, so it was like you're running a sweatshop. Yeah, it literally was. So, I mean, they weren't into innovation. They were into just writing a piece of shitty code into their own code base, which was. So it was like a haywire.
Right.
Yeah, nothing is right, and everything was like patched up in order to fix a small thing because they were doing a lot of things, and they were working for EY, Barclays. They had these as clients.
Oh my God.
And they sold this startup for I think probably 4 million or 20 million. They are like mixed information on that, but they sold this startup, and this was one of the worst piece of code base I've seen in my entire life.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You can ask ChatGPT 3.5 to write a better working code than them.
So how long were you there for?
2.5 months I quit.
2.5 months?
Yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, this is nightmare. This is nightmare.
With one of my experiences, shall we say, I lasted 4 months, I think it was, before I threw in the towel and worked on my own thing. So after 2.5 months, you realised, nah, I'm out.
Yeah.
What did you do?
For example, I got offer from another company.
Actually, just going back to that one very quickly. 2.5 months. What was the moment you were like, no?
For example, they hired me as the expert consultant in AI. So whatever I'm saying, they're not listening, and they asked me to document an absolutely shitty code. I was like, this is the code that we want to refactor that you hired me for.
Right.
But why are we documenting it, and why aren't you listening to the actual architecture that I devised? And also, it was a bit of very political. I mean, can you imagine a bunch of fresh graduates are taking the manager hostage because they have wrote a shitty piece of code? Because everything relies on their shoulders.
Right.
Whatever they say, the manager is literally at their disposal. So I was like, literally, you're a team of 5 people. And you have politics here. I came from IBM, and there wasn't any politics in a company that is known for the political history.
You know what I like about that story? The fact that you left IBM, you're like, it's a startup, and 4 times the salary.
Yeah.
And even though it was 4 times the salary, 2.5 months, you're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
But the next opportunity you went to.
Yeah, it was. For example, I have always saw that the companies that actually keep you with themselves is their leadership.
Yeah.
The next company, the leader was very good, the CTO of them. So he reached out to me. He scheduled an interview. I went there, and we had a really good conversation. So I worked there for 1.5 years, but there was a lot of challenges in that company as well.
Right.
They were doing a lot of good stuff. The CTO was very good. He was doing a lot of new innovation, but their main idea was to sell IoT projects.
Right.
And I was the data science team lead. And I was working with Etisalat, PTCL, Qatar National Bank, and I was working with Vodafone. So with all of these, I was also working with TASMU 2030, which was Qatar's vision of 2030, AI leadership and all of it. And I actually designed an algorithm to count high density crowd for optimization of transport system in stadiums, which was employed in FIFA World Cup.
No way.
Yeah, it was very nice working with a lot of different ideas and using a lot of technology. But the problem with them was they were running short on funds, and they couldn't keep up with the salaries of the people, so they were delaying it a lot. So people got demotivated, and half of the team was left after a year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
that's tough, eh?
Yeah.
But you said the leader, the CTO in particular, was really good.
Yeah.
What made him good, or her?
It's always like encouraging people to come up with new ideas, listening to people, and not be micromanaging.
Right.
Yeah. For example, for the startup that I told you, it was very micromanaging. It was like running a sweatshop that, okay, you have to do this, and you have to just complete your work. You have to come at this, and we don't really care what your ideas are. But this one is like embracing things. He was giving me a lot of opportunities. And for example, the work that I had, and also like a good debate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you understand that, okay, that a person is knowledgeable rather than an absolute dummy, like a mannequin you are speaking like going through over his head. Yeah.
Lively debate.
Yeah.
Open to
ideas. Yeah. Encouraging, empowering. And also coming up with his own vision, like making you a part of his vision rather than dictating his vision. There's like a leader who stands with you like, okay, Qaim, tell me, how can we improve it? and you give a very good idea, like, okay, what you guys think? Anybody has an idea, and somebody goes, okay, Qaim, what do you think about it? And he's taking your opinion, and we're like, okay, whatever he says, I trust this guy. So you understand that,
Yeah.
okay, that's the leadership that you want to be in,
Yeah.
be with. And I think in IBM, my first manager was like this, amazing.
Yeah.
And here it was also like this, so I stayed there for almost 1.5 years. But then it was like on the precipice, like, okay, I'm not being paid for 6 months. Like right now, yeah.
6 months, was it?
I mean, it was 4 months. So a lot of people were like 6 months, 7 months. I was like,
shit.
no, damn, that's very bad.
Yeah.
So then I had to pull the plug. But then I got an opportunity with I actually did freelance for a while, and then I got an opportunity with one of the best one of the best startups and the team leadership that I have ever experienced.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How'd you get that?
Again, LinkedIn.
They reached out to you or you went hunting?
Oh, well, I don't really remember. Sometimes I just use easy apply. That's it. I never really get into the manual application. I don't like it. Why do people do it? Easy apply. I mean, you easy apply. You have all the information. You take a look.
Yeah, I haven't done the easy apply thing. And I'm sales, right? So if people will find you if they're looking for salespeople.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
And
So,
this is the same thing.
I mean, if you're in sales and you're looking for a job, you can have a look at people that are actually hiring.
Oh, but I just remembered
And then-
how I got. So I reached out to the CEO. So he had a post.
There you go.
Yeah, I just remember that.
Sales.
Yeah, I reached out to the CEO. I wrote a description that, okay, this is my skill, and I have done this work and this and that.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is how I got the job. And he called me. He was from the same alma mater as my school, so it was like
Easy.
four guys from MIT.
Okay.
Brilliant. One of them worked in NASA.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's for somebody that was fascinated with aeronautical stuff and
Yeah,
aviation.
he was really good. He was, I think he was quantum physicist. He was very good.
The hell is this company?
I mean, brilliant guys.
What was
That is the company I really liked about the product they were building, the vision, the leadership. Everyone is. I mean, I still reach out to them, and I still have the conversation with them. I still have stakes in that company, even if I parted ways with them. But great company. Great
what was the
leadership.
company? How long were you there? Why did you leave?
Recalled 1.5 years, completed the project.
Hmm.
And it was getting redundant, so I left the company. I mean, we parted ways on mutual terms.
Yep.
Yeah, and I stayed on the advisory for a while. I still have stakes. I was awarded 11,000 shares in that company
No way.
because of the product that I built. Amazing product. I will give you a description in a while, but you will understand that it's fascinating.
Sorry, I missed the name of the company.
Recult.
Recult.
Yeah.
What did they do?
They do a lot of stuff around agriculture
Okay.
and agronomy. So, yeah, that's the basic. This is the ag tech company.
What kind of stuff do they do? And
So-
then you can tell me what you built.
Yeah. So they usually they provide services to the farmers, the direct access to the market,
Yeah.
help them with a lot of different factors like providing them material, fertilizers, different medicines for the plants, as well as provide them free consultation, provide them with forecasting, like what's the right time to sow a crop, when is the right time to cut it, give you the weather details, give you the health. I mean, a lot of these things free of cost, because they don't charge the farmer at all, and they provide the best services to the farmer.
Okay.
And their motto is absolutely, I love it. Those who feed us need us. Yeah.
I like that.
Do you see it?
I see that. I
Yeah.
see that.
Amazing. I mean,
Those who
it
feed
just
us need us.
touches you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Have you seen that famous guy that was pitching something for farmers, and then the sharks were like, "Why aren't you charging these guys $12, $15?
Yeah.
I've got to make money. You've got to make money." And the guy's like, "But they're farmers. Like they don't have
Yeah.
the money to kind of do this."
Yeah.
And then there was some guy, one of the sharks, then invested in the company did really well.
Yeah, they're the bottom of the food chain, and they strive for just living, making like 2 times to their dining table.
It's nuts. Have you ever watched Clarkson's Farm?
No.
If you're into that kind of stuff, so do you know Jeremy Clarkson?
Yeah.
You know, Top Gear, all that. So he
Yeah.
did this series called Clarkson's Farm. It's on Amazon Prime, and basically he's bought a farm in the UK and he runs a farm, and he basically just, I mean, he's a self-proclaimed idiot when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? And then he basically goes through, like, I mean, it's a disaster when it first starts. Like, he's breaking stuff and he buys stuff that's too big and too fast, but then it kind of starts to, this story starts to be told about like British farming and agriculture and like how much they're really up against it. And it's terrible, like,
Yeah.
and they're at the mercy of the weather as well, right? And it's
Yeah.
and it's just insane.
Yeah.
But I think there was one paper article that said it's done more for farming than anything before it, kind of like in terms of bringing awareness to how bad it can actually be.
Yeah. Yeah. And the tough thing is that they don't really take a lot of money home. They I mean, in Pakistan, farmers are really poor, so what they really take is part of the field, part of wheat,
Right.
part of rice, and that's it, to last them a year. And they eat just the same food. And why would you be charging $12? I mean, you should be supporting them. They're like a lot of middlemen who make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Between that. Wow. So that's, Recall was charging all of them, and they were deleting a lot of these middlemen as well. They were offering the best prices. They were buying the crops at the higher prices. They were connecting the companies, for example, the tobacco company who wants like 100 ton of tobacco.
Right.
So they giving, so I will get to the product later. So they were giving them analytics that, okay, these are the farms suitable for that particular thing, but they're empty, there's a farmer. Why don't you give them small loans? So they can, yeah. So they were connecting these things as well. So they partnered with, I mean, the CEO is an ex-Telenor who came up with EasyPasa, one of their e-wallet applications, really popular, one of the small banks now. Jazzcash, so he had a lot of partnerships with them. The other founder is leading this Recult in Thailand. 2 other people, the CTO, US, all 4, MIT. Amazing people. The CFO is a astronomist. I mean, can you believe it?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And you built what?
Yeah. So I built a crop scan algorithm. The crop scan algorithm is taking the satellite images from the world. A lot of different wavelengths come to the satellite, and then you predict that, okay, at this place, this crop is growing. What cycle is it in? When it was sown, so because it's historical, when it will be cultivated, what is the estimated yield, what is the health, and for example, it's the barren land. Historically, these are the crops that were grown here.
Yep.
So you give it's called Recult X crop scan. So you were giving all of these analytics to the companies like PTC or Philip Morris or a lot of companies who were interested in sugarcane because of the brewery, and companies interested in corn syrup, and a lot of these things. So these companies required a lot of yield, a huge amount of them, and they were connecting them with the farmers that, okay, these are the land suitable. These farmers require loans to cultivate this, to grow this crop, give them the loans. They weren't taking any share from the farmers. They were just supporting the farmers fully, providing them free services, but charging these guys.
Right.
Yeah.
And then?
And yeah, so this was the project. I built it completely. It was amazing. I had to write custom loss functions, and it was good. I mean, yeah. In order to build it, it was amazing. The CTO was really good. We usually had a heated debate. I would say not
productive.
Productive heated debate. I mean, people used to just on Slack, we are arguing with each other, and people just a random person from Thailand to me like, why are you two fighting?
Like, you need to relax, man. Like, I'm in the middle of something.
Yeah. So I mean, I really respected that guy, and it was good. That's how you make really good things happen. Because, for example, when you hear something coming out of him, it's not like purely purely unintentional or purely without any knowledge.
Right.
Like imbecile. Nothing imbecile is coming, because I worked with a lot of managers in different companies. PTCL. Imbecile managers.
Doesn't matter how quietly you whisper it, it's still gonna get.
Well, I don't really care. I mean, the imbeciles are imbeciles.
Yeah. Okay.
We need to provide them some
feedback.
Yeah. So and also to provide some contraception as well.
Mate, that is savage. You are the reason birth control exists. Like, holy shit. Mate, that is a great insult.
Yeah.
I want to get that t-shirt made.
Yeah, so everything coming out of him is smart, logical, workable. I mean, even if we are debating, we can come up with a plan. So it's based on a plan, it's based on an actual methodology.
Right.
It's not based on like, okay, do this. Not something imbecile. Like, okay, why don't you just do that? It wasn't like that. So that was the key aspect. When you respect your leader, when you respect your manager, that's how you get attached to the company, and that's how you really want to contribute to it. And it works in every way. With the teachers, if you have respect, I mean, it's for the friends, it's for the friends, it's for the acquaintances, it's for the colleagues that you meet. When you show respect, you get this attachment. Sometimes I say that I dress well because I respect other people, and I go to them and I want to be presentable. It's like part of the respect. Yeah, you don't really show up in a shorts and a open full collar wide shirt and you expect that. No, you're dressed well. I'm not saying you're dressed well. I'm not saying that you need to wear a suit to be respectful, but you need to be in a good, modest, respectful clothing.
I think there's hands down. I think that being on time, being well presented.
Sorry.
I think it there wasn't a date. I think this is a weekend as well, so I think there's a lot to be said with how that reflects on what that person thinks of the other person. Like, even you send a message, it's fine. Hey, I'm running 10 minutes late, traffic's bad. No worries, man, it's fine. Even that, and I think that I don't know if it's missed a lot nowadays, but I think I attach too much emotion to either punctuality or presentation.
Me too. For example, like I told you 10 minutes, and as soon as the 10 hit, I was like, I'm still on the road. I immediately wrote to you, like, still on the road, getting there.
It's very strange. I think
people are like, just take it at one look. Okay, you're waiting and no message. You're sending like, where are you, and no reply. And after like half an hour, they show up.
And it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? And it's like,
What? I'm sorry. I mean, you have a digital watch. More accurate than this.
Yeah, it's not even running on my pulse, man. Like, fucking relax. It's just it is a strange one. And I think that's one of the things I take for granted nowadays. I've had to become a little bit more flexible with my time. In my most recent engagement, shall we say, with work, I was trying to be more flexible. I think I have, but then still one of those things. I'm like, if a meeting can be an email, cool. Then don't have a wasteful meeting. It's like it's a waste of time. It's like, but if you can turn up and be well prepared, have a meaningful conversation, then check out. Recall.
Amazing startup. So I built the scanning and everything. So this was a very nice project. So I parted ways with the company because now they were just extending it for the different markets, and the whole project, it was converting hundreds of terabytes of data into few megabytes for the extraction of this information that will give you identification of a crop.
Holy shit.
And I made this algorithm so parallel that, I mean, literally one tile, it's called tile when a satellite image take like a portion, so it has a code, a location and everything, so it has a lot of geometric angles that you need to fix. And this is a huge tile. It's 3 by 3 meters, 2 10 by 10 meters, 1 pixel image. And managing all of this data from one tile, which is like maybe like 2 farms, that's it. And the rest of the file is just nothing. So you have to convert that into useful information, and that was a big part of it. So it was very sophisticated algorithm in order to convert a tile into an actual presentable data that a machine learning model can learn from.
You need labeling for that as well?
We need labeling for that as well. So the only thing that we were getting from the farmers was the labeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, for example, we used to give them all the services. Like, you just need to draw the boundary of your farm. Then you can just walk around it or just draw it and just tell that this is the time. It will already know the time and the coordinates, and this crop is growing here. And we used to do it by ourselves, and that's it.
We used to do that for it was like a drone-based company in, don't know if I can say actually, but when I was back in my old company, Super Hands. So we worked on some pretty interesting like agriculture projects for like data labeling for crops and stuff like that. And one of the interesting ones we worked on was for an Indian company. We were still in the process of working out, because we built on a data labeling tool as well, how to draw like oval bounding boxes. But there was one in particular, this Indian company was trying to cut out the middlemen and get fair prices for the farmers, because a lot of the brokers, the middlemen, were saying these crops are terrible, and the farmers, they just need some money to survive, right? So they weren't even like asking for extortionate prices, but then they were like, they just had to take the price. So using like these different models, you'd be like, this is good, this is bad, this is in the middle, this is a fair price. So that's what they were starting to work on. There was a few other things that we worked on as well, which was pretty fun.
It is always very interesting to work in agriculture. Also, it's kind of feels a bit noble.
This is one of the things because obviously when I was doing a bit of a read up on you, you're like the elusive man with 1,000 watches. One of the things, I think it's on your LinkedIn. Not yet. I think one of the things you mentioned on your LinkedIn is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, but I wanted to also, because we haven't even gotten to like you leaving full-time employment and starting your own thing.
Yeah.
What was the thing that you mentioned? You want to work on stuff that's going to better and further humanity, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, in your capacity, I think it's part of my duty to contribute towards it. For example, all the knowledge and all the information and all the experience that I gathered, I don't believe that it's just random, pure chance and everything.
Yeah.
So it gives me a sense of duty that I need to contribute back as well.
Making a positive impact.
Yeah, making a positive impact. Yes.
So does that lead us on to where you're at right now?
Yeah, in a way.
So when you left Recall, right?
Yeah, Recall. When I left Recall, I again freelanced for a while. Actually, freelancing for me is basically consultation, and it pays quite good.
Yeah.
I charge a lot for freelance consultation. And after that, I joined a company, Circana. I worked with them for 2 years and 7 months, marketing mix modeling.
Okay.
And then I joined News Corp.
News Corp?
Yeah.
How does this all tie in with like the betterment or having a positive impact on humanity?
Well, these companies are not like part of that particular vision, but they lead you to that in terms of getting the knowledge, getting the experience, getting the skills to work on these things. So you cannot really ignore all of it, that okay, if somebody is providing this, but you have to take like a small portion, like my vicinity, my leadership, my team, what are they building, what are they implementing, is this the technology that can connect in the future for the betterment? Yes. So you take all of that experience and then build upon it, and it's also based on the relationship and interactions and the personal connection. For example, let me give you a basic detail. Circana is a marketing mix company.
Yep.
It teaches you the basic of personal connection, personalization. Is it working?
I don't know.
Probably check it out.
Oh my God. Is it?
I think it.
What do you reckon? It is still working.
Yeah, it's working. I thought.
I'm just like mildly concerned. I've still got plenty of battery. We've already had one technological issue today. We don't need another one. Okay. Just in case. Holy shit. Testing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Jesus. The severe panic. Yeah, so marketing mix, personal
Yeah,
connection.
so it gives you a personal connection, like how to approach people and what makes people tick.
Yep.
Like to purchase something over another. For example, we were doing comparative analysis. We were doing halo analysis, where one product leads, for example, one marketing channel leads to more sales into another marketing channel. For example, you buy a billboard. You know that you won't get a single penny out of a $40,000 billboard, right? But that billboard will have an halo effect on Facebook sales because, for example, it's in the middle of the way to a company where people just pass by, see it every day, and when they see that ad on Facebook, they're like, wow, this is recognizable, and they're more prone to purchase from that. So it's all of this, and you understand that how psychology works. So a lot of these companies, although from an outer perspective they might not be part of the vision, but they are teaching you all the skills and all the information and giving you all the experience to dive deep into probably something that you will use it with your own product, with your own idea, with your own vision on contribution.
Is that what you're seeing now with what you started for yourself?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and Newscope in a similar way, the kind of impact the news does on the people, what the sentiment of it, the people sentiment, the connection. Why would somebody read something over another article? I mean, the timing, the geography, the type of the article, the subjects. So you understand that all of this connects in a way and teaches you more personal and social skills rather than probably, I would say, more altruistic skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
For News Corp, what were you doing for them?
So we were doing the stock analysis for them. So News Corp is a big company. They own like half of the world's news. I think it's the Times, and I'm forgetting. Barron's is one of them. Wall Street Journal is one of them. Dow Jones is one of them. So they own a lot of these things. So they require a lot of data and analytics. I'm not sure what I can tell, but I mean they were doing a bunch of stuff with personalized models and creating different things around it, around the different products and different subsidiaries.
It sounds like you can't talk too much about that one.
Yeah.
So you went from, what was the marketing mix company called?
Circana.
Circana, you were there for how long?
2 years and 7 months probably.
And then News Corp?
Yeah.
How long?
Probably 5 months.
5 months?
Yeah.
And then you decided it wasn't for you? You need to go back to your altruistic roots?
I mean, then I decided to turn up with this startup, and I thought that it requires my full attention.
Where did the idea come from? And how did you make that mental switch to go from full-time collecting a paycheck to pay for your watches to then...
That was a good paycheck.
So that's it, right? How do you peel yourself away from those golden handcuffs?
Oh, well, one way is to actually do something with the complete full ownership and build something that you are always passionate about. I was always a data guy, the AI guy, the tech guy, so I wanted to build something that makes my life easier in all the industry that I've worked with. So this was the biggest challenge, the data, getting the data, transforming it, doing everything, because I was always doing it, and it was like, okay, this is a time that with all these technologies and all these new advancements in tech and in AI, in machine learning, LLMs, we are at the moment that we can leverage all of this information and make this whole task a bit easier. So it relies more on creativity now rather than hardcore working, doing manual work and doing laborious donkey job like day after day cleaning it. So now you can leverage all of it, and an experienced guy can use his creativity to build the project. Yeah.
How do you build the creativity to, because this is one of the things we spoke about earlier on, right, in terms of like having that heavy context behind why stuff actually gets done, and then how do you then study the creativity required to bring it to something like this?
Study the creativity. I don't really fully understand the question.
It's because it wasn't a good question. That's why. How do you get to a point where you can be creative?
Okay. Creativity is very subjective. It comes from various confounders, various points around your environment. For example, data science or tinkering is an art in every possible way. You are using some ingredients and then you are making a beautiful dish, a cuisine, right? So you have raw materials. You don't have to really grow a carrot in order to make a carrot soup, right?
Right.
So right now what in data science we are doing is we are growing a carrot, we are growing an onion and building it from scratch and then using it and combining them, cutting it, chopping it and transforming it and then boiling it, preparing it and then making a soup, the final product. That's how we are doing it. But I mean, in how many different things we do something like that. And for example, when we have technologies which are able to provide you with the raw material like the pre-cut carrots from the grocery store, so why don't you use them? I mean, of course they are not organic and of course they're frozen, but I mean, if you are getting them fresh, why not? Now you can work on the real creativity. Now you can work on the right amount of something, right amount of that algorithm, right amount of this. For example, I need to transform this particular data into this, and you just are a question away or a node away that, okay, transform this to this, and that's it.
Right.
And now you're working on this whole big picture that now I want to go from point A, where I have a lot of data sources, different things, I don't know what's in them, then contextualization, now I understand what's in them, and now what can I do? Okay, there are a few things I can do. Let's start with this. These are the things that I need to do to achieve this. These are the ingredients. So I need to put my spice into it, my intelligence into it, my creativity, and then get to that point. So that is the full idea of Data Copilot.
I've got so many questions around that. Where does your creativity come from?
My creativity comes from my attention to detail.
So basically the stuff that really pisses you off that's small, and it's like, that needs to change.
Yeah, I like I told you, I am a perfectionist. So yeah, I mean, I try not to be, but still, deep in my mind, I am still that.
Isn't that a good thing?
You know, it is a good thing. And with all of these tools, being a perfectionist is really awesome, you know?
With the tools thing, yes.
Yeah.
How do you think being a perfectionist will impact you being a good leader?
Yeah. Being a good leader.
Are you just going to turn into like a fucking micromanager?
No. I never do that.
Because like obviously being a perfectionist, when you see something, you're like, that should be
corrected, but not like this should be corrected. Like you sit on their head and tell them that, okay, correct it right now.
Okay.
I want this my way. No.
So basically, do you set your standards out early on?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. I mean, immediately. When, for example, my team is building my product right now.
Yeah.
And
how big is your team?
My team is 3 people who are building the front end and the back end. One, my close friend who is working on the data science and AI part with me.
Yep.
So I'm also contributing to it. So we have 5 people who are working on the product.
5.
Yeah. There are 2 designers who are working on the design element of the product. So when something takes me, I really set the standard early on, like, okay, this needs to be done like this. Okay, I'm not going to tell you that, okay, how we're going to do it. For the first part, we will do it like this. And the next, we'll do it. And I take people's opinions that, okay, what do you think? Yeah, it's not like, okay, I want this and you do this. No, I don't like that. I empower my colleagues, and I always empower them, like, okay, give me the idea. For example, if I am hiring you or if I am working with you as an expert, so I will take your opinion, definitely. I mean, there are a few design elements that I will work with my designer that, okay, I like the design like this better. What is your opinion on this color? I always take it. Probably, I think I trust your design instincts and you can make a nice layout. What do you think? Yeah,
you know what, I'm very curious as to what your team, how would your team describe you?
Yeah, definitely. Oh my
I should have
goodness.
done some
Oh my
pre.
goodness. You should
I should have done
interview.
some pre-interview.
Yeah,
I should be
you
like,
should. You should.
should ping them a LinkedIn message like out of
Yeah.
the blue. Hey, do you know this guy? Is he a tool? Like how do you describe this guy?
No.
Like, is he a
Oh my
perfectionist?
goodness. Actually, one guy you need to reach out to and see that how he describes me. I mean, I've known him for a while. His name is Usman. He's working with me on the back end part.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, I'd never miss a point. For example, if I have a point to screw him, I will always call him and do it. I mean,
Really?
Yeah. On the call, we were in the introduction, like introducing to everyone, and I saw his haircut and I was like, damn, on the spot. Like, Qaim, you cannot hold it. And whenever he does it to me as well.
Yeah.
And I always say that on the day of judgment, I will take my revenge. But like, you cannot last the day of judgment. You won't last like 2 hours. You see a point and you will absolutely nail it.
Mate, I don't know if I could work with you. How did you make the switch? What were you scared of? Going from full-time employment into kind of entrepreneurship?
Well,
proper. When I say proper, because obviously you got the garment business as well.
Well, it's not really very, very fruitful. Yeah, I mean, like I told you, I take very small orders, and I make money, a little bit of money out of it. But for example, I don't have marketing, I don't have sales, so it's like personally me, people reaching out to me by seeing a few things. So yeah, that's the only thing. And I personally, it's also, I love it for myself. So most of the things that I tinker with, I wear it myself.
I'm gonna put it in order for you.
Yeah.
But then going from like that full-time employment for you at News Corp with a healthy pay, now working on IOTA J, right?
Yeah.
So all money disappears, income, and it's like...
Well, now you have this project that you put your soul into. Now you have to work with this new thing, and I still believe that it's going to be huge.
For that, I really like to understand, because it takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
To not do what everyone else does, right, and take that steady paycheck.
Well, I have been a risk taker. I mean, you can see my crypto wallet, and I'm 10% of my total investment. You can see that I always took my money out and invested in a lot of things, and I failed businesses. So I'm always a risk taker. So I don't believe that money is all the thing that matters. Money is a tool that comes and go. And I am grateful that I had a lot of money. I am still grateful that I don't have a lot of money. But I mean, the thing is that it's not the only thing that matters. The thing matters is that the impact, what are you building for the people, how it make their life easier, for example, if I enjoy a product, I really like it, I would respect that company, I would respect that person who put his thoughts into making this thing, and I like that more.
How do you assess risk? Because I mean, this is a big one, right? I think there's a great book by Chip and Dan Heath called Decisive, and it talks about like decision making process, right?
Yes.
And I think there was Jeff Bezos. What did he talk about revolving doors and something else? I can't remember, but it's this idea of what are those decisions that you can make where you can come back from them, and what are those decisions that you make where it's like, all right, I'm all in, like.
Yeah.
So how do you assess risk?
How do I assess risk?
Yes, sir.
So there are a few things to assess risk. For example, I have been in a good position to assess risk and take risk because I don't have to put food on the table for my family. So there has always been this. And for example, I think this is a bit of a different opportunity for everyone else. I cannot really relate people. So this is one thing. So I know I have a home where I don't have to pay rent. I have to just go back and live. So in this way, I am more risk forward. So I take risk. I assess it in a way that I see the opportunity, I see the demand, I see the time, I see that, okay, I mean, I am going to, in the worst case, I'm going to take a huge learning experience from it, and anyway, I can get back to work and find a nice paying job and be hired by people. It's not like I'm living in a cave. Yeah, it's as simple as that. And I mean, in this age, I'm at this point where I don't have a family to support, and oh, I mean, not my own family where I contribute a lot and I have to raise a kid. So I think this is the time where I can take this risk without feeling too much pressure of the society, of the family, of my whereabouts. I am sitting in a taxi and I see a ticket to a new country. I buy it and fly it in the evening. And so I am in this position that I am able to be individual. And so these are all the things that actually come into as ingestion points when I'm making a risk. The opportunity is one of them, and I usually take opportunities in higher risk things. For example, in the crypto, I made a lot of money. I lost a lot of money as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was like, okay, when you go big, you also lose big. So you have to be aware of that. But I don't really take risk beyond my measures. For example, I won't really put my credit card and buy something which will fail. I always take a risk that I know I can take care of it. Even if I go back to square one, like from scratch, I can still have enough and I still have everything in place that I can manage. So these are all the things. For example, this startup, okay, this is a risk, leaving a pay job, but I mean, what is leaving a pay job? Leaving a bit of money, you have time, you're working on a new thing. It's not like I'm not being paid nothing. I am working towards, even for example, for a small amount of money, I'm building towards which can ultimately be a very high rewarding work. And I don't envision it to be failed, but in the worst, absolutely worst nightmarish scenario, even if it fails, then the world is still there, companies are still there, you can still go back. It's not like it's the end of the world.
How do you get into that mindset though? Because I think there's a lot of things tied to like failure being a person rather than an event. It's like, oh my god, if I don't make this, it's the ego thing, right? No, I have to go back to the work.
It's the ego, and people are usually tied and married to these titles. Married to these brands, married to this persona that, okay, I don't want to lose it. People will stop respecting it. For example, I never really cared that I need to be at this center stage, that people see me and respect me. And if I lose, and if I not have money, people will start losing interest. I never thought of that. Probably it's the mindset that I've been in the environment that I've never taught or never saw or experienced such things. I always take risk. I mean, in different ways, when you meet people, I never really cared, like, okay, how this person will see me.
Why?
I don't know.
Is it a parent thing?
Probably like that. Probably schooling, probably the institutes I went to. I think it's probably very personal, but I don't think that.
Do you reckon it's because you're smart, and you're just like, well, I know what I'm capable of, and therefore you can judge me all you want. I don't give a shit because
really. You know, I was talking to this one guy for my company, and I designed this idea that, okay, I want this as a product, and how much time does it take to do it? He was like, I think it will take like 3 months, and I was like, why would it take 3 months? Like, this is this complicated and this and that and this. Like, what? I was like, how complicated can it be? I never programmed in React, and never in my entire life. Like, they're Claude and they're OpenAI. I mean, if you are experienced, you can work really well with them. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. They produce shit code. But you are experienced. You're correcting the shit, right? But you don't understand. You are talking to me like my previous boss. I was like, damn. I was like, okay. I turn off the call. It took me 2 hours to design the whole platform with the instructions with Claude, like writing it, everything, passing the data from one node to another. Like, I designed 4 nodes with the full platform. I was like, can I have a call with you in the night? I was like, yes. I was like, it took me 2 hours. In my entire life, I've never seen a code in React. I built this, corrected all the errors. If I can do this in 2 hours, I think you can do it pretty fast, right? Even if you're designing everything by scratch.
Right.
So you don't really have to give me a lot of excuses. I mean, I respect your time that, okay, I don't expect you to sit on your seat 24/7 and work for me. But I mean, pardon me the bullshit.
How do you manage this? And with respect to you, it takes a certain caliber or courage of a person to like go out and build their own thing.
Yeah.
I think obviously you're a rather intelligent individual as well. How do you manage?
Oh, why the deep breath?
How do you stay humble? Like obviously you have that creativity, that mindset, that IQ to go and build this thing, not having coded in React or anything like that before, but you can build that, right? Because there's no limitations.
Yeah.
For others, it's like, well, how do you manage that? And this comes back to this idea of leadership I was asking you about as well, because I don't know, it's like you can set the standard and then have that expectation, but some people, they are wicked smart, but don't have that same level as you.
Well, I think I partly answered this question earlier that, for example, I don't believe that everything is by chance. And this is probably part of the religion as well. So I take in from that being grateful and being humble. So the thing to being humble comes from being grateful. So I am grateful for whatever I have. I mean, all the hardships apart, growing up and everything, going to the universities, doing all of it, there are hardships for every life. But still, you need to be in this grateful mindset that, okay, I am still grateful for what I have right now. And this leads you to being humble, humility. That, for example, if another person, you can, actually it was part of there was something called design thinking. There is something called design thinking, and IBM focuses a lot on design thinking and design thinking. And this is a very small aspect to it. That, for example, when you are grateful and when you are humble, when you can actually place yourself in another's shoes, that understand, you can view from another perspective. For example, I can view my team from a perspective of being a developer myself, and how much I hated a micromanaging. Literally, on the first week, I came here in Malaysia, and I talked to Ali, and I was like, I called him sir because he was senior and it was part of the military culture. I was like, sir, the only thing I hate the most in my entire life is anyone micromanaging me. If you are cool with that, we'll go ways.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I will not. And he never micromanages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the only thing. So I said this, I was like, okay, if you're confused about that, let me put it straightforwardly.
Sorry, you seem confused by this. Let me fucking straighten you out.
Yeah.
Wait, this is what I mean by being humble.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, so you can see from the perspective, yes, you need to be smart and you need to be creative in order to build these things, but you need to be understandable. Or like, okay, there is a medium way, there is an extreme way of micromanaging, and there is an extreme way of imbecility, like the absolute nothing where your mind doesn't make any neurons at all.
I think it's this level of EQ, this self-awareness, right? And I think it ebbs and flows between, maybe I need to micromanage right now for this particular thing.
Exactly.
And then it's like, oh, well, now I can back away.
Yeah,
and
exactly. This is actually the EQ. You need to specify the boundary. You can communicate without micromanaging a person, like, okay, in a nicer way, like, okay, I think it needs to be done. Well, give me an idea. Like, what do you think? Is it possible? Is it like a quick fix or not? If it's not a quick fix, let's focus on this thing and come back to it later, but just note it down. Yeah, you can communicate in a way, or you can be like a dictator and say, okay, I need it to be fixed. And you jeopardize a lot of things when you are doing that. Okay, I need to be, then you come out of this huge vision, like you just become too focused on one thing and you lose the sight of the whole project or whole idea or whole vision. So you have to stay in somewhere in the middle in order to understand it, and you need to learn to tweak it, to keep it higher and to keep it lower, like a microprocessor. Right. It needs to know that, okay, this product or this program needs more computation, give it to that, but then it stays in idle state as well. Imagine it will be putting it's all focused on this program, it will be burning, like it will be like fire out of the vents. So that happens, and I've seen people doing that. They're just red in the face and running around confused. I was like, what? It's not like end of the world.
Relax.
Stay relaxed. wear a watch. It runs on a pulse.
Yeah, wait, the whole thing would explode. You'd be like,
it's running an hour faster.
my God. IOTA J
Yeah.
and Data Pilot. All right. 5-10 years from now, and it's been amazing, and
Yeah.
it's gone exactly how you wanted to. Based on your vision for the business, how do you hope it's being used, and how do you hope like the company has been shaped?
This is a good question. How I hope it to be used
Yeah.
is in endless ways. It's just, for example, anything that you are using ChatGPT for, based on your sharing your secret thoughts in the middle of the night, and getting a response which will be like from random. Okay, I'm not a psychologist, so I want it to be used in a way for the betterment. For example, there are a lot of different things and automation that can be done and make life easier and provide better services to people, better healthcare, better transportation services, better agriculture to people. So there are a lot of things that companies can do, but they don't have the skill set. Data science is a novel kind of role of hiring a good data scientist, an experienced one, is very difficult. You will find a lot of people with the title data science, but they don't understand what data science is. Data science is not just learning and graduating with a data science degree at all. It requires a lot of personal experience. It requires a lot of connection to people. It needs to understand design thinking. It needs to understand how different things can be done in a particular way. You have all the knowledge, but you have to dumb it down to this simple information that will be communicated well.
Is there? Sounds like, I don't want to be too much of a dick about it, but it sounds like the data science part of it, but there's also the art behind it.
Exactly.
So it's like data art
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't want to know what the initial names Ali came up with for the IOTA J.
I kind of do now. What was your favourite? And by favourite, I mean the fucking worst.
The fucking worst was Pythagorengayam. I was like, I want to name it based on a scientist. What do you think about Pythagoras? I was like, what do you think about Pythagorengayam? I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what? And Pikachu was a data scientist. Data science is an art.com. Like, it came from that. I was like, damn. Memory.
Where, I mean, I'd really like to be more specific with like where you see the use case for IOTA J and Data Pilot. But in terms of like where you want to take the company, what kind of people do you want to work with?
Of course, smart people. I hate stupidity.
Oh my God. But, you know,
Yeah, but
that's relative.
Yeah, I mean, smartness comes from a lot of different ways. Somebody can be street smart, somebody can be social smart, somebody can be code smart. So the smartness comes from a lot of things, and you want to understand how people think. For example, I want to work with people who are curious, who take their job as like this fire in their heart. I really want to work on this. So this makes me tick. So I want to work with those people because those people are usually kind of perfectionist in their own field.
Yeah.
But then you can learn a lot because they will be always on the top of their field. They will always be curious. They will always ask questions, and they will always be humble. Strangely enough.
You know, and I think that comes from the curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Because you get to a point where you've read so much that it doesn't matter. There's no ego about it. So it's like, I can learn something from this other person.
Yeah.
With all these things that you said, who comes to mind? Like, what's the person that embodies that you've either worked with now or worked with in the past? Is like, I want to work with that person again, or I'm so happy I'm working with this person.
Well, I really like how street smart Ali is in terms of getting the ideas, in terms of communicating, in terms of really grilling you to a point that you make it absolutely dumb, so it can be communicated to a person who is not technical at all.
Yeah.
So he asks a lot of questions like, Qaim, I still don't get it. You are still too verbal. Yeah. I was like, sir, I just iterated it like 20 times. Like, make it dumber.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna understand you.
This is how when I've worked when I do the mentorship and coaching with other people. It's like, imagine you're pitching to me. Like, pitch it to like me as an individual, because I am dumb as shit. Like, I don't understand this at all. So let's go down to like absolute basics.
They're like, okay, every time you say something, ask me if I understand. If I do, I will say yes. Like, okay. Okay, data copilot, stop there.
That done. Next.
Yeah.
One last thing. I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to talk about, but is there something that you want to talk about that I didn't ask you about?
Well, we have talked about a lot of things.
Yes, we have.
Well, I'm not sure if I missed anything.
One final question for me. Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm as happy as a clamshell on a high tide.
I'm not a seafaring person, so I don't know if that's a thing. Is that clam happy then?
When on a high tide, the clams are, for example, the clams are being gathered on the shore.
Yep.
So on a high tide, they are underwater.
Okay.
So they cannot be collected.
Okay.
So they're safe. So they're happy.
So they're happy. So you're... I feel like you've said this phrase before.
Yeah, I've said this phrase so many times before. I'm as happy as a clamshell on a high tide.
How do you know you're happy?
Oh, well, I always love a productive dialogue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I always like it. And we talked about a lot of things, some in a philosophical way as well. We had deep discussion about a lot of different aspects which really matter in society. And I am glad that I am part of it, that I am being able to discuss or share my thought or my perspective about it. Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to leave as a final parting comment?
Well, I mean, for the students, I will ask them to really, really be curious and try to make best of it. I don't expect or want anyone to drop out, but I still want them to have this fire. I mean, it's not about education, it's about anything. If you like making tea and it makes you passionate, do it. I mean, I really like people when they're really passionate about the thing they're doing. And I've seen them for example, there was a boot shine in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And he came to me. There are a lot of boot shines. There are people and they use something very random for the boots. And he came to me and was like, sir, can I polish your shoes? I was like, can you do a mirror shine? He looked at me. I was like, do you mean water shine? So they call it water polish. Like, yeah, but I want it to be as immaculate. I want to see my face. I was like, okay, I will do it. He literally took my, and passionately, he went in a corner and made the best boot shine in my entire life. And he came to back and was like, I won't charge you. I was like, no. I gave him probably like 20 times more he will earn from it because I was so happy. And he was so passionate. I literally took his number. I was like, every time I'm in this area, I'm going to call you to... Yeah, I love these people who are passionate about anything.
It's so infectious. It really is infectious.
Yeah, I mean, I really love them. And I want such people to be more abundant in this world. I want people to be curious. I want them to inquire about different things, something be passionate about. And I want to see that spark. Whenever they speak, they feel chills in their feet, like I'm feeling right now.
I love it. I'm buying it. Like, whatever you're selling right now, I'm like, fuck, I need this.
Yeah, I really, really like that. So I want more people like that. And I want this fire to be more infectious to other people. I want them to be real, for real.
Where can people find you if you want them to?
Yeah, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I actually respond to even the imbecile messages. Like the people who are selling me, like, I was like, okay, sorry, I have considered it, but I'm not really feeling like I'm going to buy it.
What's your profile on LinkedIn?
Q Hassan.
Q Hassan.
Yes.
HASSAN.
Yes.
And IOTA J website?
IOTA J website is under construction, datacopilot.co. It's there, but it's still under construction. It's the same thing. I got this website made and I was like, oh, I don't really feel like this is my standard of...
Fuck, of course.
Yeah, like, I wanted... Literally, I called Ali twice or thrice. Like, they're like, it's serving the purpose. I was like, no, it's not serving the purpose. I open it. I don't really want to use this product. I want this website like this. I open it and I was like, damn, that's a good website.
I want to sweep the floor under any person who opens it. I was like, damn, that's a good website. It's responsive. I mean, it's just, look at it, it's responsive, it's beautiful. I don't understand shit, but this product, damn, that I want. Yeah, I want that. So yeah.
Are you hiring?
I am open to positions in terms of people who are interested in working with us. I'm working with my close team for the alpha and beta, but people who are willing to use it, test it out, who have ideas and bringing business, definitely I'm open to that. I think nobody's close to more business, right?
Fine. Okay. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Good chat.
Pleasure. It was a pleasure meeting you.
This has been the Mindem podcast. Thank you so much for listening. It was my goal to give you as much value as possible, and I hope you've got that from this one. Question for you, based on what you heard, how will you think differently, and what will be the next best action step that you can take? If you'd like to be a guest or simply like to have a conversation with myself and the team, feel free to reach out on any of our social channels. Go forth, be awesome, make a difference. Peace out.